don't do that.
And it's not working.
Please don't do that.
Okay. This is only a test.
I'm gonna get mine. Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Don't tell me how you're off and down. When you're smiling in my face, but you play me like a clown. It's your fool, bitch. So just step back. I'm a mad dad when I come down strapped. I thought you were my piece, but you play me out. Now I'm mad as hell, and I'm full of doubt. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty. Let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty. Let's roll. I'm back on the scene. It's time to get mean. I'm a lean revolution machine. Won't want people stay, they sway. 1, 2 day is good as any day. Y'all feel slightly dis, let's resist. Raise your fist and pump like this. Promises all the time. Don't cross the line, but you know it's mine. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty. Let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty. Let's roll.
Hello. This is the SativaCross.com podcast coming to you live from Trenton, New Jersey, in front of the State House, where Christie works. Hi, Ken. Hi, William. I'm waiting for our theme music to start. For some reason, it's not starting.
Why?
Hello, Lefty. Wasn't that our theme music? Who you want to roll with?
We have two. We have a song that we talk over when we start the show like this. And I go, hi, Ken. Hi, William. Hi, Eric. Hi, Dan. Hi, Carrol. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Oh, sorry, Eric. There you go.
Good morning.
Hi, Lefty and others.
Live from Trenton. Wow. For only a couple minutes
At the
late.
Annex building.
Whew, we just made it by a second.
Wow. Good luck. That's a little annoying, isn't it?
Nah, I like it. It reminds me that the show's about cannabis. Whenever we stray off topic, this is going to hit me in the head and say, cannabis, cannabis.
Like
right?
cannabis is in your face.
Medicine.
In your back, in your face. It's all over New Jersey. Cannabis is going to be legalized in New Jersey in 2018.
Cannabis is all over the world.
Ken Wolski, how'd you, you were at the meeting.
Yes, I was.
How'd you feel about what happened?
At the press conference. I felt very positive about it, Lefty. I was pleased that Senator Scutari introduced his bill to legalize, tax, and regulate marijuana in New Jersey. You know, I think that there's just so many good things about that we need to really focus on that and be grateful that this bill was introduced into the legislature. You know, the bill wasn't perfect. It didn't have home cultivation, and many people were concerned about that. But the senator did address that. He said that you know, he was open to possibly adding home cultivation once the industry gets started. So you know, I think we have to respect Senator Scutari and his approach to this, and work to get the things that we want later. You know, this is an incremental thing that we're doing, Lefty. You know, I mean, marijuana reform has been made incrementally, starting with well, California's Prop 215 in 1996, 21 years ago. That was the first medical marijuana law that actually worked in the country, and so we've seen great reforms in marijuana since then, and this step by Senator Scutari takes its place with the marijuana reforms that are undergoing in this country now.
It's about time.
Yeah.
But patients need to come first, no matter what.
Yes. Yes.
Let's not forget about the patients, because I'm
right.
afraid about that.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of people are, and you know, I thought it was very encouraging that the panel, the medicinal marijuana review panel that reviewed the 45 petitions that were in front of the Department of Health, approved 43 of the 45 petitions that were in front of them to add qualifying conditions to the state's medicinal marijuana program. You know, I mean, this was a panel that was appointed by the Department of Health, and none of those were marijuana advocates, Lefty. They were all just, you know, healthcare professionals. They had 5 doctors, 2 pharmacists, and 1 registered nurse on the panel. And you know, I read the resumes and CVs when they were posted online, and not one of them had any education or experience in medical marijuana. And I was very upset. I was very concerned about that. I thought, well, you know, what do these people know about the endocannabinoid system and how marijuana actually works in the human body? And yet when they read those petitions, they approved 43 out of 45 of them. And I said, boy, you know, if you just review the science, you know, and look at the facts, and listen to the patients. You know, they also, Dr. Becker mentioned that the compelling stories of the patients who came up and talked about how marijuana helped them when nothing else could help them. You know, that was one of the things that really tilted the opinion of the panel in favor of all these, or nearly all of the petitions. So I'm very positive with what's going on in I feel very positive about New Jersey, what's going on in New Jersey now, and I think this is the message I want to convey today. I have the actual bill in front of me too. It's 62 pages of you know, written pages about how marijuana is going to be legalized in New Jersey, taxed and regulated. So we can review that sometime during today, or at least parts of it.
I'm down.
Good.
Break it down for us, Ken.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Well,
Because a lot
Let's educate the audience.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you know, I mean, it gets pretty technical in a lot of pages, but you know, I think the very first page says an awful lot about what the goal of this legislation is. You know, it says that the legislature, it's an act concerning marijuana, amending and supplementing various parts of the statutory law. And it legalizes possession and personal use of small amounts of marijuana for people over 21. And it is the intent of the people of New Jersey to adopt a new approach to our marijuana policies by taxing, controlling, and legalizing marijuana like alcohol for adults. So, you know, I think that's a very powerful first statement that, you know, here we want to legalize it in New Jersey. We want to stop these arrests. And it goes on. And it is the intent of the people of New Jersey that the provisions of this act will prevent the sale or distribution of marijuana to people 21 years of age or under. And this act is designed to eliminate the problems caused by the unregulated manufacture, distribution, and use of marijuana within New Jersey. And this act will divert funds from marijuana sales from going to illegal enterprises, gangs, and cartels. New Jersey law enforcement officers made over 24,000 arrests for marijuana possession in 2012, more than in the previous 20 years. In 2012, million arrests. All drug arrests. And taxing, controlling, and legalizing marijuana for adults like alcohol will free up precious resources to allow our criminal justice system to focus on serious crimes and public safety issues. And this is why the New Jersey Municipal Prosecutors Association endorses legalizing marijuana. They don't want to waste their time on these stupid pot cases.
Well, the new thing now is what the patients have to get. If they're going to grow strains for people for recreational use, just to get stoned, what about the patients that need things like verotamine for their diabetes?
Well, Lefty, I think that we can work with that. Nothing's going to happen on this bill until 2018, until we get a new governor. So when we get a new governor, we're going to have a governor most likely that is much more receptive to marijuana reform than Governor Christie is right now. I mean, he said that this bill would not he would veto this bill if it got to his desk. So when we get into 2018, we're going to be looking at a whole range of issues. Not only legalizing marijuana for adults in New Jersey, but also expanding and improving the medicinal marijuana program, which is very important. And I think, Lefty, that I think we have a very good shot at least expanding the medicinal marijuana program to include home cultivation for the patients in the program. Now that would be a huge advantage. First of all, we'll have an expanded program, because if we allow chronic pain, if we allow all the things that this medicinal marijuana review panel approved, we're talking about expanding the program in New Jersey by 10 to 20 times what it is now, Lefty. And if we get home cultivation for the patients who are in this program, so that they are not prohibited from getting access to medicine because they're too poor to get access.
Right, that's a problem.
Then that's a legitimate concern, and that's something that the entire New Jersey Senate approved in 2009. In February of 2009, when our original Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act was working its way through the legislature, Lefty, that bill had home cultivation for qualified patients in New Jersey, and the Senate approved it. And I think that the Assembly would have approved it too, except that Governor Corzine was opposed to it, and so home cultivation was taken out of the bill at that time. But the New Jersey Senate is already on record as approving home cultivation for patients, and I think that it's likely that we can bring that back, at least for patients, if not for every adult.
So wait,
in New Jersey.
the Senate approved it. What
Yes.
about the Assembly?
Well, it didn't get the
It
bill.
didn't go
The
that far.
bill was modified by the time it got to the Assembly. In
Okay.
4 months later, in June of 2009, we came to the Assembly Health Committee, and we expected to, testify in support of the bill that we thought was going to be the same bill that passed in the Senate. And the Herb Conaway, the head of the Assembly Health Committees, came out and said there have been modifications to this bill. We don't even have a written copy of the bill to show you right now. I can tell you also that this bill is moving out of committee and it's moving on, and I can tell you what some of the modifications were, and we'll continue with this hearing. And those modifications, which we heard came directly from Governor Corzine, eliminated chronic pain as a qualifying condition for marijuana therapy. It eliminated home cultivation. It eliminated recognition of out-of-state ID cards. So the Assembly never got to vote on the original bill that the Senate approved. And then, since they knew that they had to, get concurrence between the two bills, they also knew that the governor was not going to sign the one that the Senate passed, then they have the right to grow marijuana right now It should have been, if you have an ID card from the Department of Health and you have a qualifying condition, you're able to you're able to grow 6 plants to treat that illness. So we'd like to get that restored. I think that's the proper approach. Don't worry about what Senator Scutari has said in his bill. Well, by all means, you can. I think it's important to address Senator Scutari's concerns, and that's what the advocates should be doing now. Senator Scutari has concerns about how marijuana in home cultivation is being diverted into the black market in Colorado. He said he went out there and he said the only problem he had with the legalizing marijuana in Colorado was the fact that there was diversion of this home cultivation. People who were supposed to grow 6 plants, suddenly there's 5 people living in a household, so they can grow 30 plants, and then 4 of those people move out, and they still got the 30 plants there, and that the excess marijuana was being diverted to different states. So that was a problem that he expressed and he was concerned about, and I think that we advocates need to address those issues that the senator has concerns about, and hopefully get him more in line with more agreeable to home cultivation, but for adults. But even if he's not, then at least get him to concede that the Senate and he agreed to home cultivation originally, and let's go back to that for patients at least.
I hear you can't smoke in public with this new law.
It says that adults can't smoke in public with the new law. Somewhere in this law here. Let me read to you page 39 of this law, Lefty. Page 39, because this is I did a little bit of research on this already, and that this came up, and the question is, legitimate patients can smoke in public now, but this law says that adults over 21 in a recreational program cannot smoke. But here it says, on page 39, 22, new section, medical marijuana provisions, nothing in this public law shall be construed to limit any privileges or rights of a medical marijuana patient, primary caregiver, or licensed entity as provided in the New Jersey Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act.
That's key right there.
So you have the right to use your medicine any place where you can even smoke cigarettes. This seems to say that it's not going to interfere with medical marijuana patients and their use of marijuana.
Because I told Carrol this on the way down, and I said, you can't leave your house anymore. You have to stay home and never leave your house now, because you cannot medicate outside your home.
Right.
So, or we have to drag you to an area where you can medicate after you have a seizure.
Right.
Just where do we drag the body to? At this point.
So, that's not a workable. I'm sure that wasn't the intent of this legislation, to penalize and prohibit the legitimate use of medicine by medical patients here in New Jersey, Lefty. Senator Scutari was the guy who first introduced this bill. He is our legislative champion in the New Jersey legislature. So, he's not out to undercut he definitely sees the need for marijuana reform, and he since 2005 when he first introduced the bill, he was the first person to introduce the Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act into the New Jersey legislature. So, I have a lot of faith and confidence that Senator Scutari wants what's good for the people of the state of New Jersey, and also the patients who can benefit from medical marijuana.
Grab a mic. I can't hear you.
This is Dan Brady, a
One,
veteran.
two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, don't do that, please.
Okay, I'm back here. Oh, the illegal.
Dan Brady is
So-
a Vietnam veteran who testified in support of post-traumatic stress disorder. Correct, Dan? Mm-hmm. And you're here today at the podcast. Thank you for coming.
Oh, it was easy to do. It's a beautiful walk. Oh, but my point was, so if you have marijuana and it's not from the state, then you're guilty of tax evasion?
Well, medical marijuana patients who have marijuana that is not from the alternative treatment centers can still be prosecuted for, having marijuana that is illegally obtained. So
They can? They can?
Yeah. Well, they can be punished. I'm not sure if they're prosecuted. I'm not sure what the extent of the punishment is, whether it's a fine or it's an actual prosecution. But yeah, I mean, the only medicine that the only marijuana that is legally obtained right now is obtained through the alternative treatment centers. There are 5 alternative treatment centers in the state of New Jersey, and that's the only place that you can legally obtain marijuana. If you have marijuana from anywhere else, and even if you're a patient, even if you are a legitimate patient, you face criminal prosecution. Sure, Dan. So, you know, this is and when this bill passes into law, and for adults only, you know, for adult use, the marijuana that is obtained and used by the adults in New Jersey will have to be the marijuana that comes from the licensed outlets. It's going to be a very strictly licensed program, very tightly regulated program. You know that's what we this is the state we live in, New Jersey. You know, we have one of the most tightly regulated medical marijuana programs, and this is going to be a very tightly regulated recreational use program.
So if you got marijuana, you're still guilty, huh? If it ain't from the state.
Yes, absolutely.
That's going to put the poor people in a very tight bind.
Well, this is why so many people are upset about not having a home cultivation provision in this law, Dan. And you know, it's a legitimate concern, and I certainly understand it. I mean, I've been an advocate for home cultivation for decades. You know, it just does so many good things, but it's you know, it's just not part of this law. So yeah, you know, it's very important to have home cultivation, but it's not part of this bill at this point.
Is that Christie coming in? Is that Christie? No, it ain't. No.
And you know, some of the other good things that this program will do is taxing, controlling, and legalizing marijuana for adults like alcohol will free up precious resources. We said that already. So the police can focus on serious crime and public safety issues. Taxing, controlling, and legalizing marijuana for adults like alcohol will strike a blow at the illegal enterprises that profit from New Jersey's current unregulated marijuana illegal market.
Oh,
this is exactly what
okay.
they're trying to do, Dan. They're trying to strike a blow at this
We got a call coming in. Hold on, guys.
illegal, unregulated marijuana market.
David Dawson is calling in. Let's see if we can get him on. David? David?
I'll be back.
Oh, no. David, can you hear me?
Tony Liberty is here in the house.
All right, David, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me call you back. Yeah, I'll call you back. I'm having a problem with my phone. I'll call you back in like 10 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, then.
Thank you.
And it also says
he's being prosecuted, and he
Oh.
needs to tell his story. It's really sad what's happening to him.
that's David
David Dawson.
David Dawson.
Yeah, he's being prosecuted. His card ran out. His card expired, and now he's being charged with a felony for like an eighth of weed, I think.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's really sad.
It's like a card, but it just because it expired.
Yeah,
You're getting that money.
yeah.
That's ridiculous.
He had a card for 10 years, and then in California.
Oh, that's in California.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
he-
Grab a
does-
mic, Tony, if you want to talk. Come on.
Does he have a New Jersey card?
How you doing, buddy? Hey, what's going on? I'm sorry, I'm a little preoccupied here.
That's all right.
I'm trying to fix my phone now. Sorry. But
So-
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, well, just talking about the bill, the New Jersey must strengthen our support for evidence-based drug prevention programs that work to educate New Jerseyans, particularly young New Jerseyans, about the harms of drug abuse. You know, I mean, that's a very good point. When you talk about the harms of drug abuse, if you try to tell kids that marijuana is as dangerous as heroin, you know, you've lost them. You lose your credibility. You lose your ability to actually educate young people about the very real harms that are associated with methamphetamine, heroin, inhalants, alcohol, and you know, you just lose your ability to really talk about the very real dangers that are associated with these drugs when you exaggerate the dangers that are associated with marijuana.
Especially with cannabis sitting on a Schedule 1 dangerous substance, no medical use in New Jersey with a medical program, a medical-only program, and it's still a Schedule 1. I mean, that right there is such a contradiction that who believes anything they say anymore?
Right. It really is an Alice in Wonderland kind of world where, you know, the New Jersey Department of Health recognizes a number of diseases and symptoms and conditions that marijuana is useful in the treatment of, and the Office of Attorney General says that there are no accepted medical uses for marijuana in the United States.
And how much does the pharmaceutical company pay for him to say that?
Well, it's I'm not sure. You know, I mean, the campaign. I don't think that they pay the Attorney General per se, but you know, they certainly make campaign contributions to the elected officials who appoint the Attorney General.
You say potato, I say potato.
You know, it may come to the same thing, but yeah, the pharmaceutical industry certainly feels threatened by marijuana legalization because not only is it a cheaper alternative than these drugs and a safer alternative. Yeah, did you read the paper the other day where it said 32% of FDA-approved drugs cause harm to patients? You know,
I would think it's more than that even.
you know, it could very well be, depending on how you define harm.
Yet we have no research about the safety of cannabis.
Well, you know, I mean, that's what they say. I mean, obviously we have thousands of years of evidence of marijuana's safety and usefulness in the treatment of a number of diseases, symptoms, and conditions. So, you know, but and not only is marijuana a safer and a cheaper alternative to so many pharmaceuticals, Tony, but when people use marijuana for a condition, they find suddenly they feel better in other ways. It can treat 2 and 3 conditions that a person might have.
And that's interesting because when I was given prescription drugs for depression or for pain, I seem to always get more problems, not less problems.
Right. Absolutely. So the problems can run up to suicidal ideation. You know, I mean, it can actually people can lose their lives because of the pharmaceutical drugs, and marijuana is so much safer in so many different ways than pharmaceutical drugs.
I lost 13 years for a neck injury with pharmaceutical drugs that cannabis solved, all but solved, in 2 years.
Yeah. Well, you're looking good, Tony. You're looking really good today. So I'm glad to hear that you're doing well, you know, with the use of cannabis.
It's helped me immensely. It's changed my life. I feel like I'm 19 again almost.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's legit.
You look 19.
Do I?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take that.
Well, I wouldn't say 19, but you look well. You look well. You look healthy. You look, you know, vibrant and vigorous. And God bless you, Tony.
I get to Trenton from an hour and a half away, like 3 times a week, and I used to not get out of bed 3 times a week.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, what a difference, you know. And I was so pleased that the medicinal marijuana panel approved, at least initially approved, the use of marijuana for opiate use disorder. You know, I mean, because you're living proof of this, Tony, and you testified in front of the panel, correct?
Yeah, in front of the DOH panel twice now, actually.
Twice, yeah. Yeah, thanks so much. You know, they spoke about the testimony of patients and how important that was,
Huge.
you know, in coming to their conclusions about, you know, should this opiate use disorder be approved for marijuana therapy in New Jersey.
I honestly, personally know 100 people in Camden County right now that need cannabis to get off of opiate drugs, whether they're getting them legally or illegally, I don't care. They need off, they want off. There's no rehab beds, there's no money for them. You know, I could be home growing the cannabis, the medicine that they need to get them off the streets and get them back standing here with us in Trenton. But New Jersey and Christie don't want me to.
Yeah, you could also lose your house, and you could be arrested for over 10 years for growing cannabis in New Jersey right
I've
now.
been evicted before because of it.
Yeah, we followed a couple of cases very closely. You know, a multiple sclerosis patient, John Wilson, up in Somerset County, who was growing 17 plants, and you know, he faced 30 years in prison for growing that to treat his multiple sclerosis. He didn't have insurance. You know, he couldn't afford the drugs, the typical pharmaceutical drugs to treat his multiple sclerosis. He heard the talk show host Montel Williams, talk about how marijuana helped his multiple sclerosis, and of course Montel could afford any drugs. And Montel said that marijuana was the only thing that really relieved his muscle spasms. And so when John Wilson heard that, he started growing some plants and treating himself. And some state police helicopters found him growing. And when he got to trial, the judge would not even let him tell the jury about his multiple sclerosis, why he was growing the marijuana.
That's ridiculous.
So in America,
Sad.
you can't tell the jurists about your health
Right.
conditions.
Right, and the weed man ran into that same problem too in a Burlington County courthouse. You know, he was really essentially forbidden to tell the jury about his medical problems. I mean, he mentioned them at the end. He kind of worked it in a little bit, but he wasn't allowed to present a vigorous defense. He wasn't allowed to bring neurologists in to testify about the neuroprotective qualities of marijuana.
Which there's a patent for.
Right. Right. The federal government owns that patent on the neuroprotective and antioxidative properties of cannabinoids.
So the United States government is owned by the citizens, but a citizen of the United States can't tell other citizens of the United States on a jury about our patent for neuroprotective properties for cannabis.
I know. It just seems like such an anti-American thing to have happen. And how can a person on trial even when he takes a stand, how can he even swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth when the judge won't let him?
And you can't even talk about your own health?
You can't talk about why you were growing the marijuana. The prosecutor said, what difference does it make if he has multiple sclerosis? If he had multiple sclerosis and robbed a bank, he still would have been guilty of robbing the bank.
And I bet you that prosecutor's daughter would have cannabis today if she had multiple sclerosis.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just terrible what goes on in the criminal justice system. It really is a mass incarceration machine, Tony.
It's a joke.
Well, it's not a very funny joke. It's you know, it's a very sad joke.
It's the worst joke in America right now.
Yeah.
Joke.
And you know, to victimize these people who were only trying to improve their health.
Like Ed Fortune,
Ed Fortune,
cancer patient, sitting in shackles right now.
Right.
With no bail.
And now I hear his cancer's getting worse. He just went and
PET scan today.
A PET scan, and his the lesions in his liver is getting worse, or maybe it's spread to his liver because he can't get the medicine that he needs.
And he's an American veteran, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a vet
He's a veteran, yeah.
with cancer,
Yeah.
being victimized because he's black.
In America.
A lot of times because the black people, they get victimized more than the white people. 3 times as much. They get arrested, and they disappear in the system. Ed Fortune, they couldn't make him disappear. He's too smart. He has too many friends. So they can't sweep him under the rug like they sweep everybody else.
Well, but look what they did to him. They're
trying. They're trying.
They've got him locked up.
They're trying.
Without bail.
I know.
You know?
And a media gag order, I heard.
And no charges against him filed. I mean,
Put a
he's
media
not-
gag order in America.
What the hell's going on in this country?
He's not been found guilty of anything.
He's innocent.
Oh.
Beep, beep. Oh, is it true that there's a rider in this bill that's going to pass that says that the people presently incarcerated will be released from prison?
Oh, wow. Is that
I
in
did
there?
hear there was some expungement. I
Well,
don't know all the details. yet.
Really?
Right. I haven't found that yet in the bill, but I found it briefly, and it talks about people being able to apply for expungement. It's not going to be automatic, but it's going to be allow people to apply to Superior Court for expungement for nonviolent marijuana offenses.
Yeah, I was going to say, and usually it comes down to if you had a gun or a weapon or something
Right,
when they
it's gotta
start
be-
questioning it.
Right, it's got to be nonviolent.
So that means that Ed's weed man's arrest for marijuana will be turned over.
Well,
If he's incarcerated in time, right? Is that how it would work?
it may be. You know, I mean, first of all, he shouldn't be arrested at all. You know, I mean, here he is. Like you say, a veteran. He's a qualified patient. He has a California ID card. He has a qualifying condition in New Jersey. He has cancer and pain that goes along with it. And yet the New Jersey state government wants to prosecute him for using marijuana that he has a doctor's recommendation to use from California. You know, it really is a terrible, terrible situation.
Our diseases do not stop at borders.
Yeah, right. Your diagnosis and your treatment plan doesn't change when you cross the Delaware River. So, you know, it's such a sad situation with Ed Fortune, New Jersey weed man, that you know, he should be, here he is. A black man he opened a business on State Street, you know,
Cleaned up that corner.
Yeah.
He did, you know, he did so many good things here, and our government's response is to harass him and to incarcerate him and to lock him up and to impose gag orders on him.
That's all political.
It's because our governor is owned by the pharmaceutical company, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I heard that he was more involved with the substance abuse treatment programs than the pharmaceutical industry, but
I've seen that all falls in the same place to me.
I make a distinction between the pharmaceutical industry, the alcohol industry, and the prison industrial complex. These, to me, are the three main opponents of marijuana reform.
The axis
in
of
New
evil.
Jersey. The axis of evil, yeah. These are the opponents of marijuana reform, and they're very well heeled, and we, most of the marijuana advocates have no money. We are, our organization, Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey, we're a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization, but all of the people who are involved in the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey are volunteers. There's not a single paid person. Any donations to CMMNJ, which are income tax deductible, 100% of those donations go towards educating the public about the benefits of legal marijuana. And but look what we're up against. We're up against decades of federal misinformation, and we're up against decades of very well-heeled opposition from financial interests that we've identified as the pharmaceutical industry, the alcohol industry, and the prison industrial complex.
Okay, here we go.
And we're fighting people with
the prison industrial complex?
Sure. They have a direct stake in keeping a large prison population in New Jersey. I worked in the prison I worked in the Department of Corrections for 22 years.
They're hungry.
So
The prisons are hungry. And
Yeah.
and money is going into
no, somebody's yacht payment is late.
Guys,
That's what it is.
guys, we're going to call Joe Rullo. Joe Rullo, future Governor Joe Rullo, you're on the air.
How's it going, everybody?
What's going on, Joe?
How are you?
Good. We got to go after the legislature early on. These clowns are trying to tax us 25% after 5 years on marijuana. They're going to end up putting it into the point where people can't even afford it.
25% for the social use, right?
Yeah, 25% is just going to encourage the black market to stick around.
Yeah, that encourages black markets a lot, big time.
Yes, it does. And then, it's ridiculous. And, I'm not making any commitment to anybody's bills that are out there. There's 2 bills that are out there. One does not include medicinal marijuana. And then as far as, getting rid of the taxes on it, it would have to be amended for that. But then there's other problems with it. So I just want to be upfront with you guys that, I'm not supporting either one of these bills that are out there.
Wow, really?
Well, because of the 25%, and let's tell the audience the truth too. Ready? Governor Christie isn't going to sign this bill, and there's no way they're going to be able to override it. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to posture Murphy so that he looks like he's for a bill. And I already know that everyone knows that I'm for recreational marijuana. Now the thing is Joe Rullo, which I will, going to represent you guys all in a great way, where I'm not going to tax you to death, and I'm going to make it affordable. They don't mention anything about seeds for medicinal marijuana users in their legislation at all. They don't even address it. They don't even address that after X amount of years that might be possible. And you need to do that ground zero, because once you do, it's just almost impossible to re-enter legislation. And do you want to give these clowns, 25% of whatever the amount is going to be with my idea is saying that let's pay the damn pension down. Let's pay it towards the transportation trust fund so we can get rid of these damn tolls. So you lower the gas tax and repeal it, okay? They're not mentioning that. What these clowns want to do is they want to take that money, and they want to do exactly what they did to the pension. They want to do exactly what they did to the Transportation Trust Fund. They want to bankrupt New Jersey. The good news is we got plenty of time to, figure this out, because, you understand the way the government works. Christie is not going to vote for this. He'll veto it. And there's going to be enough Republicans in the legislature, and especially with the 25%, and there's even going to be Democrats, there's no way they're overriding this. So we have well past November. This isn't going to happen prior to. You're just getting it no spin here. Nobody is going to talk to you this way and is going to tell you what's, I want to tell you now about it so that things don't get confusing and everybody's asking me about it. I want to be upfront because I had a couple supporters actually come out today, and they were trying to put me up against the wall and, say that, 25%, well, it should be no tax. The actual people that are for medicinal marijuana all agree that there should be some kind of a recreational, tax like alcohol or cigarettes, or else the legislature is not even going to approve it. I mean, we're back to ground zero. So that's really the current status on what's going on here. But don't believe the hype. This bill is far from approved. And basically, if I'm governor, the bill that I'm going to propose is going to be so much better because it's not going to, tax people. I mean, they don't understand that people that, might smoke this for recreational, they don't want to go and buy an ounce at a time or a quarter or whatever. They might want to just get, a small amount. And that might not even be possible with this 25% tax. It's so ridiculous. I mean, 25%. I mean, even in 5 years, that's ridiculous, right?
I can't afford it.
Yeah, well, we're not sure what the final price would be with the taxes. Apparently, the bill that Senator Scutari proposed would be a graduated tax that would go up to 25% after a certain number of years. But it doesn't really indicate what the final price of the marijuana would be, for example, for an ounce. So we don't really have the answer to that. And so we're just not sure. Now, Joe, let me back up a little bit. Now, you're running for governor in the state of New Jersey, and you're going to be on the ballot in November.
June. It's a primary.
Oh, all right. So you're running in the the Democratic primary, Joe?
Republican.
Republican primary. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. All right. So if you win in the Republican primary, then you're going to be the Republican candidate for governor. Okay.
I'm going to be the governor of New Jersey because I will beat Murphy 100%. I'll have to get through this primary, though, in order to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And all right, now we're a 501c3. The Coalition for Medical. This is Ken Wolski from the Coalition for Medical Marijuana. Joe, hi. I haven't spoken to you before. And anyway, so I want to thank you for talking to us here at the podcast. And I want to let you know that we can't endorse a candidate. We can't endorse any candidate, but we can talk about your views on various subjects. For example, marijuana. So can you just give us an idea of what marijuana reform would look like under a Joe Rullo administration in New Jersey?
Well, several things. I mean, let's start with medicinal.
Mm-hmm.
The opiate industry doesn't get charged a sales tax, doesn't get charged a club membership fee of $200. That would be eliminated right from the get-go. I'm very open to, licensing seeds to medicinal users at a limited number so that they're able to grow and know what they're growing and, keep it organic if that's what they want. That's on the medicinal end. On the recreational end, I differentiate from the liberal Murphy, who basically wants to take, exuberant amounts of tax dollars and just throw it into the direct treasury and have them just find things to spend it on. And I'll give you examples, like for the Transportation Trust Fund. Do we have to go any further? The pension fund. These are all things that we trusted them with. The 911 fee, which is basically charged $2 and something cents on your Verizon bill, never even made it to the 911 system to fix it. They balance budgets with it. So what I'm proposing is, with recreational marijuana proceeds, to directly go to pay down the pension debt so that we decrease the amount of credit downgrades that we have in the state. Additionally, towards the Transportation Trust Fund as another measure, so that we can eliminate tolls, so that we can repeal the gas tax. And that way, this money isn't just being, I want to use the right word, pissed away, like they've done over the last, 3 decades. And there's nothing that anyone can tell me that would indicate anything different. Look at what they have done with the pension fund. Look at what they have done with the Transportation Trust Fund. So with that being said, a 25% tax is a 25% tax. And, you know, if you take a baseline, regardless of what it is, your average consumer or tax, you know, person who's paying taxes in New Jersey or voter, when they find out it's 25%, they're not going to be happy about it. I was not thinking any more than the sales tax. And that's where my mind was. I'm not here to only represent medicinal marijuana, recreational marijuana, but I'm here to represent every single taxpayer in New Jersey. And it will never happen under my watch, a 25% tax. And I'm confident that I will beat Murphy on the whole issue to begin with. This isn't about taxing people to oblivion. This is about liberty. This is about freedom. This is about people being able to use the medicine that they want. This is about people using the recreational activity that they want. And these Democrats are going to turn this into a tax issue. And it's not right for the people of New Jersey. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford to pay a 25% tax. People that, especially, you know, that are using this, you know, look at the demographics that they're saying, you know, that low-income people in situations end up in prison. Well, they're doing the same thing with the taxing. It's so unfair, okay? You know, I'm not rich. I'm low-income. And I personally think a 25% is a 25% tax. I wanted to be upfront with the viewers. This has been like, I don't know, how many times I've been on Lefty? Like 20 times already?
Yeah.
And you know, I need to be upfront with the viewers that I don't agree that, you know, we don't know a baseline of 25% is a 25% tax. And I want to reiterate to the viewers that are listening that this is not going to pass anyway, this Tory bill anyway, because Governor Christie is going to veto it, and then the legislature is not going, especially the Republicans, are not going to accept the 25% tax increase. So he should have thought this through before he even did it, because we could have had a damn override if he would have been so damn greedy with 25%.
So
and that's how I feel. You know, that's where we're at right now.
Okay, so thank you, Joe. Now, so you would limit the tax on recreational marijuana to 7% and eliminate the tax on the medical marijuana, correct?
Well, first I would eliminate it completely from medicinal, and my mind is not made up. It would not be what I saw this as is no more than what people are paying in sales tax.
Right.
I mean, the revenue that would come in from that, I mean, anybody who has common sense, which you all do, because we're all on the right side with recreational and medicinal, this is going to be a boom, an economic boom. I mean, just the Garden State in itself with the farmers, and, you know, instead of Garden the Weed State, no pun intended, I mean, the boom that we would have with that alone. I think they're being greedy, and yeah, I mean, 25% is absolutely astronomical. And I want people to understand that this is not going to pass now. It's not going to happen. What they're doing is they're formatting a position for Murphy, and he's going to create an argument with this. And I think that we should early on say to Murphy, 25% is just way too much. I mean, it's just way too much. We can't trust these bums with 25% of revenues on this level, okay? And look at what I'm proposing. I'm proposing to take the revenue so that just pretend you all had some debt. Let's say your house wasn't paid off, and you barely made any payments on it. And let's say every credit card was maxed out, and I came to you and I gave you a business, and you basically start having money coming in. Well, if you took that money and just started spending it elsewhere and accumulating more debt, all that debt stays there. Versus if you have a new income stream and you start paying down that debt, you're now going to own all those assets, and you're going to be free of credit cards, which is basically like being rich if you have no debt. I mean, people who have debt think they're rich. They're really not. People who don't have debt are rich in a lot of times. You know, I'm talking about with credit card debt. And this is what they have brought to the state is this mentality that, 25% and the money's going to go to the right place. They're not earmarking it. I'm saying put it into the Transportation Trust Fund so that I can fulfill my promise to repeal the gas tax and start phasing out the tolls. In addition, we have a state that is going to go bankrupt because of all these credit downgrades, and we also keep missing our quarterly revenue projections for revenue. We need to put this into the pension fund and make a pension payment with it. Do the right things with it so that we don't look back 2 decades from now and say, look, at what the hell did we do? We have nothing to show for that.
Thank you, Joe. Now, Now, you said that you would entertain the idea of allowing home cultivation for medical patients. What's your position on home cultivation for recreational users?
I really, the cart before the horse. I think that should be something that should be considered to be phased in over time. Once they get through the hurdles of, you're talking about 3 levels here: retail, wholesale, the farmers. All this stuff has to be worked out. So at this point right now, that's where I stand on it.
So you would not allow it to be at the beginning, but you would entertain the idea of perhaps considering it once the industry is up and running.
Yeah, like maybe licensing seeds or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Similar to what they're going to do, what we're proposing to do with marijuana for medicinal.
Okay.
Limited at first.
Mm-hmm.
I would really like that, the licensing a seed like that. That way, as a medical patient, I could home grow, and the state could still take a couple dollars from me. I have no
Right.
problem with that if I
Right.
could grow my own medicine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I think it's fair. I mean, it's so unfair that people could grow their own herbs, right? Any herb. It just happens to be marijuana now. You can't grow the herb, right?
People harvest ginseng down in West Virginia, and it's more dangerous than cannabis. Why can't I grow it next to my tomatoes?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another thing, too. What's that called? Something, Sammy? You ever hear of Sammy?
Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen that on the.
It's
It's
a-
like a supplement.
Yeah, but like you said, it can increase the serotonin, and you have all sorts of problems with it, and yet, it's not regulated at all. A lot of these herbs aren't even regulated, right, from the FDA or anything.
No, yeah, if they call them a food supplement, or I forget the exact term, but yeah, then there's no FDA approval, nothing like that, and you don't know if they're as safe as cannabis or not.
So many people don't even understand, too, that with medicinal marijuana, there's so many forms of it, and that in a lot of forms, they picture, somebody getting stoned like Cheech and Chong, and they don't understand that, there's certain forms that there isn't even a high involved with it,
All right.
I'm at a very extremely high dose of cannabis oil right now, Joe, and I'm standing here in Trenton, wide awake and sober.
Joe,
It's absolutely different from opiates.
Joe, you talked about using the tax money that you would receive from the sale of recreational marijuana for the Transportation Trust Fund and for the pension and for some other general purposes in the state of New Jersey. Now, what about the people who've been most victimized by the war on drugs so far, especially the inner city minorities? Would there be anything would you consider any type of either affirmative action to allow minorities to have preference for to get into this industry, at least in terms of inner city places, or some other way to help to restore our really broken inner cities that have been mostly broken by this war on drugs, which is mostly a war on marijuana?
Yeah, I mean, you could kill two birds with one stone over in Atlantic City. I mean, you have, that kind of an area, but at the same time, they're in a bad position as well. So absolutely, that would be a consideration. Also, I thought you were going to ask this question, but, for nonviolent offenders, I think that we have to start figuring out, we're going to have a lot of room in the prisons after this, because there's a lot of people that are sitting in there. One guy, for example, in Tom's River, he just got busted, with 11 plants, which is ridiculous, that they have him. They gave this guy, ready for this? They gave this guy 11 years, and he represented himself, and they threw the book at him, and what blew my mind is like a couple months later, a correction officer for children was let onto the streets. She was a heroin dealer, and they let her go, and they gave her probation. And, somebody like him, he has to come out right away. I mean, that's,
You're talking about John Pedito?
That's, to me, that's, what? Go ahead.
John Pedito is a gentleman you're referring to in Tom's River. I know he was growing a few plants, and he faced over 30 years. I think he did get 8 years or so.
Yeah.
He got 11 years or 10 years. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we followed that case pretty closely. John came to our meetings, and we were present there during the trial, and some people were trying to educate potential jurors about jury nullification and educate them about the marijuana's potential. The relative risks of marijuana in a society, and how the 11-year sentence was completely out of proportion to any harm that was done.
Oh yeah, they were just mad at him. They were mad at him because he was one of the resistors, and I remember 2 years ago, and I don't know if you guys remember this, even a year ago, like NewJersey.com, oh, it's about time, we shouldn't do marijuana, and they came out with an opinion. 2 years ago, I announced in 2015, and I came out strongly for not only medicinal marijuana, but recreational marijuana when it was a risk. And nobody was really for it, and they didn't see the tip of the iceberg coming yet. And I could care less if there was or not. I was for it either way. And this is just complete dumb luck that I'm in the right place at the right time. I was wearing on my sleeve and my heart for this cause, as I've done with the Second Amendment, as I've done with the vapor industry, and also for people that like to off-road in their vehicles. I have a clear paper trail and the history of supporting people that are always ganged up on by the government.
Joe, did you
for their freedom and rights and liberty.
Joe, did you say vapor industry? Vapor?
Yes, I'm 100% behind them, and I've been fighting for them as hard as I fight for you. And basically, what they're trying to do is these poor people want to quit smoking, and a lot of them have, and they go out and they use the vapor instead of the cigarettes, and then they quit. And they're trying to take away the legislature, like with you, is in bed with the opiate industry, and in this case, it's called, I want to use the right drug name, whatever it's called, and it's an antidepressant, the one that you watch on TV that goes, hey, if you just happen to feel tired and woozy, and you might do this, and you might want to commit suicide, okay, this is the type of medication they give you to quit smoking cigarettes. This is one of their alternatives. Well, they tried to get rid of all of the flavors, and I saw that as, they're trying to put them out of business, and it would. And additionally, they tried to raise their taxes like 100%, just like they're trying to do with this initially. And, they're not doing this 25% initially to do that, but, this is where they head, and they, try to bankrupt different industries with this. But there's obviously been some sort of a mutiny going on, or a rebellion, or an overthrow within the opium industry because of Christie, and he must have cut a deal because the deals are off. Now the Trenton, I call them whores, are basically all jumping on board with marijuana because they want to tax everybody to oblivion, and we got to put our foot down early on and say it's got to be within reason, and it's got to be, protected so that it's not being abused like everything else. We don't want New Jersey to go bankrupt because of a new revenue coming in. We want New Jersey to become number one at all the right things, not all the wrong things.
Joe, here's the reason I want home grow, and it comes to the vapor industry. Philip Morris invested $20 million in a medical cannabis technology company called Psych, and it's a vape industry. So Philip Morris is looking to jump into this industry big time, and for patients that want to just grow 6 to 10 plants in their house, they're going to price them out of the market. I have a problem with big canna. I'll call it big canna.
No, yeah, we need mom and pop canna.
Yeah, I like mom and pop canna better.
That's what I want in New Jersey. I want mom and pop canna in New Jersey. I want there to be like, with the vapor industry, we got all these mom and pop businesses all over the place.
Yeah, Philip Morris just scares me that they just invested all this money in the vape industry, and it's, I don't know, it just scares me. I like that. A new term, mom and pop cannabis.
You're talking about they're looking down the road to put it to liquidate it and put it in vapor.
Yeah.
Because they want to make all those little throwaway e-cig type things, just make some more trash and throw more materials away.
Well, they're targeting what they think is a trend, but I don't think that New Jersey, that's not going to be in the first phase. So.
No, this is the garden state. I want my garden.
Yeah.
Joe, if we could just go back to the issue
they're
of...
two different products.
If we could just go back to the issue of expungement for 1 minute. The Senator Scutari's bill mentions that expungement, any person convicted of a marijuana possession as defined in paragraph 4, blah, blah, pending before the would be eligible to present an application for expungement to the Superior Court. So so basically he's allowing people who are if Senator Scutari's bill passes, he would allow people who have been convicted of marijuana possession offenses to apply for expungement. Is that what your concept of expungement would be, or your idea of expungement would be?
The only thing that I would, as long as it's not a violent offense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Any non-violent, right?
It's got to be very clear. So I didn't look deep into it. Like I said earlier on, I'm not going to play into a bill that's not going to pass because it's going to get vetoed, and they don't have the override. And also, there's components in that bill that I can't support as it is.
Right. Well, I don't think that Senator Scutari was really expecting this bill to get on Governor Christie's desk. But I think that his purpose for introducing the bill now was to start the conversation and to deal with the issues that are involved in it, or at least many of the issues that are involved in it, and to deal with issues like tax and home cultivation and things that are concerns to both legislators and individuals. And so
you got another bill which was introduced, and I'll pull it up right now. Hold on. And it was from Assemblyman Patrick Carrol. And this goes back quite a while back. And his proposal is no tax on marijuana at all. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to pull it up right now. Hold on.
Yeah, there were a number of other bills.
It's Assembly Bill A4193, treat marijuana similar to tobacco, remove all criminal penalty associated with marijuana, allows for expungement of nearly all convictions, prohibits anyone under 19 from possessing instead of 21, a little bit younger, authorizes Attorney General and Commissioner of Health to regulate, does not create a new agency, saves the state money, treats public use exactly like tobacco, requires instructional programs about societal effects of plant, allows home growing. Ready? Allows home growing. Bans industrial home growing for any employer, but it allows regular home growing. Treats marijuana marketing similar to tobacco. No implemented sales tax. Can purchase anywhere you purchase cigarettes. So,
and what's
my biggest fear would be.
What's the number of that bill once again, Joe? And you would propose that this would be the model bill that you would propose for?
Not at all. Both bills have flaws. This one does not include medicinal marijuana, getting rid of medicinal marijuana tax.
So you would.
And it doesn't go into.
Yeah, go ahead. So you'd want to get rid.
Yeah, it doesn't even mention it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, too, is I don't think that a bill would ever pass unless it was taxed. That's what sold. Come on, let's be honest, folks.
Right.
I mean, even Lefty and all of you, the one thing I got to say about y'all from the very beginning is, you took, you said, what, we can, probably if we took this money, the revenues from it and did the right thing, we could really help New Jersey. And I respect that, But the thing is, most of the people that are conservatives and we're talking about even Democrats that are, less than moderate, that are more like on a conservative view, they're really turning their tie to this and saying this could be a revenue stream. Now what are we going to do when we turn around and say, oh, there's not going to be any tax on it? You know how many people are going to say, why? And why would you do that? Why would the government be involved with it?
Well, I don't think that
it just doesn't make any sense at all.
I don't think that home cultivation really would significantly impact the revenue stream. I mean, they have home cultivation in Colorado, and they're still pulling in a couple.
No. I'm not talking about home. That's another issue. I like that he has home in there. That's what I'm saying. I want to be clear. I think Katori and him, they both have interesting things in their bill. You merge them together, they're pretty damn close. They have a lot of good, attributes in both. But there's still other things that, we have already discussed, which I'm sure raised your brow from the first time you've spoken to me. is that I'm not afraid to talk to you about everything, about every aspect, and I'm not guarding myself, you know?
That's refreshing in politics, Joe.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Yep. And I've made a complete commitment, and that's what I do. You know, once I decide that I'm for something, I'm for it, and that's it. And I don't play any games, and it's all or none.
Joe, there's something you can help with. In Bayonne, we made 3 videos about disabled people in wheelchairs, how they cannot get into businesses in Bayonne. There's steps all over Bayonne, and these businesses have been grandfathered in to allow them to not update these steps so that handicapped people in wheelchairs cannot get into these businesses. Can you help? Can you help us with this issue in Trenton?
Could we at least get a ramp at the medical supply store?
Yeah, I mean, medical supply stores don't even have ramps for Michelle to get in. It's sad.
At a medical supply store?
Yes, and they called the cops on us because they thought we were harassing them. We're like, yeah, we want to come in your store.
Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
Yeah, it's on video. I'll tag you in it. It's sad.
Well, I've been, you know, I'm a host for the Cupid's 5K, which is for, you know, people with disabilities, and I've been involved with disability issues for several years. And I remember being college president in the early 90s and basically proposing, you know, handicap accessible doors and different things like that. And coincidentally, 6 months later, the college turns around because of the American with Disabilities Act and was forced to do what I was proposing 6 months even before that.
Go figure. Wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll tag you in these videos. It's really sad, and it's in Jersey City too. And the council in Bayonne told me that it's not our problem. Go to Trenton. So okay, we're going to go to Trenton, and we're here, and we're complaining to who we can here about a lot of issues. And one of them is cannabis.
I
And
think it's even above Trenton. I think it's a ADA issue.
oh, that issue is just ridiculous. I can't believe that nobody has compassion. We went to about 50 businesses, about 50, and 2 had ramps. 2.
There's a ramp at the joint.
The joint has a beautiful metal ramp with guards on the side. Beautiful ramp. They care about sick people because they have a lot of sick people here.
You
Unbelievable.
know what one blew my mind is the medical supply store.
Yeah, unbelievable. I'll tag you in it. You're not gonna believe this, Joe.
I really can't emphasize to you guys enough, and I really want your help in educating the core of medicinal and recreational marijuana supporters that we don't want to be used as pawns. And when we do this legislation, it's got to be right. It can't be Republican and Democrat. It's got to be what's going to be good for the medicinal users, the recreational users, the taxpayers of New Jersey, and the state of New Jersey.
You know what? I'm done with Democrat
And we
and
have to be
Republican.
very objective, and we got to make sure that these scoundrels don't steal these revenue funds, you know, the first couple of years, and we end up in even worse case scenarios, because what they'll do is say, okay, we're going to bond this much money because we can show that we have this much revenue coming in, and as the revenue, it will, by the way, the revenue will diminish, and diminishing returns will occur once Delaware, New York, Pennsylvania, and the adjacent areas start to also recreational marijuana. There's going to be a demand decrease, and you're going to see a decrease in the amount of revenues that are coming in on a quarterly basis. Therefore, any projections that are made on loans and debt will put us in the same position that we're with the pension right now.
Joe, Mike Alonzo is going to be the candidate for 31st District in New Jersey for Assembly. He is the first candidate in the United States that can legally smoke cannabis in public on the campaign trail. He could actually stand there, hand out flyers, and smoke cannabis on the trail.
It's a brand new day in America.
It's a new thing, Joe. Why don't you get your card, Joe?
Do you realize that Michael Alonso is on my line?
I know.
We are actually running against Kim and Jack.
Yeah, he's going to win. You're both going to win, and Mike Alonso is just an amazing guy, and I'm so happy to be helping him and you. You guys are the best.
Yeah, he is a good guy, and he's, God-fearing, and he's, good Christian guy.
And a true American patriot.
Yes, he is. And,
Yep.
and he has a horrible disease that he's just got diagnosed with, and now he uses medical cannabis, and he's feeling better.
Yeah, I never asked him. What is it? What did he say he has?
He has multiple sclerosis.
Oh, boy.
He was just diagnosed a couple of months ago by accident. He was in a car accident, and they did an x-ray on his neck, and they said, wait a minute, you have lesions on your brain. You better get that checked out. He had it checked out, and boom, MS.
That's how they found out, huh, the lesions?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he won his primary. Well, the person he was running against died, similar to your situation, right? And so he's running by himself.
Yeah, basically, that's what happened.
Yeah, so he's got the nomination. He's got to go against McKnight and what's it, Ciccarelli? Ciccarelli, yeah. So I think if Michael smokes cannabis, he'll win in the hood. I think Michael should go in the hood and smoke cannabis.
He's already in the game as far as he's going to run in November now.
Yeah, he's in. I'm so happy for him.
But he's on my line, so people, when they go to the election, they'll see his name, my name, all in a row, and we have Drain the Swamp in Trenton as our slogan.
Like Ken said, we can't support any candidate, so don't vote for Mike Alonso. Do not vote for Mike Alonso. He's just going to legalize. He's going to legalize cannabis. Don't vote for the guy.
Yeah, we can't support him.
So we don't support him.
No,
And we don't support you either, Joe.
No, wait a minute. No,
We don't support them.
Lefty, you can endorse a candidate.
Oh, I
The
can?
Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey cannot endorse candidates
Okay.
for public office.
All right, I'm your bitch,
But,
Joe.
So I want to make it clear that the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey has not endorsed any candidates for public office, and we do not do that.
I do.
But certainly you're
Okay.
You're
All right.
welcome to do that as part of Sativa Cross.
You guys want to talk about something, before I go, and it's the funniest thing because about, like I said, 2 years ago, and even a year ago, NewJersey.com and Asbury Park Press were doing editorials on marijuana, it's not time, and we shouldn't legalize it. Now they're all behind it, and the tide is with us, and Jack Citarelli, who's running against me, he's an assemblyman, voted against PTSD marijuana for veterans just a couple months ago. He now changed his position to decriminalization, which he wants to charge somebody, ready, if they get caught with marijuana more than a couple times, like a DUI. And it's amazing to me how everybody now is not only for medicinal marijuana, but they want to expand it. But just 3 or 4 months ago, when they didn't think it was popular, they wouldn't even talk about it, and they were obviously not for the expansion.
And he couldn't support veterans? I mean, who's voting for anybody that can't support a veteran right now? A
How
sick
do you
veteran.
not support a veteran who suffered and almost died for your country?
Oh, no, in Trenton, they put him in jail with no bail.
I think at the time it was so it wasn't popular, and I don't think he saw the trend coming.
I'm sorry, Joe,
Well-
but there's no trend in supporting disabled veterans.
Yeah, that's his job, is to see things, have foresight.
Totally.
Little
He
foresight.
just saw it as an all-or-none issue. I can't vote for marijuana, and it's not popular, and it's not a Republican staple.
It's going to cost him his career.
And overnight, I mean, it was like the last couple of months that it just changed.
Yep. Well, Joe, what's your website that people can go and donate money to you and support you?
Great. They can go to Rullo, RULLO, 2017.com. That's Rullo2017.com.
Awesome. I totally support you. I'm looking forward to doing some more stuff. I think I think you and Mike Alonso need to do something together, somewhere.
We do.
You know, and we're
We
in.
do. We had an event. You were there, right?
Yeah, you should come to Trenton. You should take some good photo ops here in Trenton. It's beautiful buildings. You can come on the podcast. It's a great backdrop for you.
Let me tell you something. The election's only 2 weeks away, and once we win, we'll be coming there because we have a lot of time, definitely.
Joe, I can make a video for you in 2 days. Come down here. I'll make a video for you. We'll use the wheelchair footage. We can use cannabis footage, whatever you want. I'll make 2 PSA videos for you. Just come down to Trenton for free. I'll do it for free. Just come down.
Awesome.
Yeah, we got 4 weeks, so let's do this, man. I'm serious. Let's do this. I totally support you and Mike, and let's do this. You got me. Let's do it.
And make sure that you get everybody to, basically to vote, because it's, like I said, it's only a couple of weeks away, and people, they think that it's a shoo-in, and keep doing everything on social media and telling everybody about the election.
All right, Joe. So it's Rullo2017.com. Is that right? Rullo2017.com. Donate $5, $10, $20, whatever you got. 10%, do a tithing, whatever you want. Just give Joe some money. He's going to legalize it for you in Jersey.
And Joe, I just want to thank you.
buddy. And I'll talk to you guys soon if you want. Give me a call and I'll jump on again. Before the election.
Thanks so much for explaining your position on marijuana for the coalition members too, Joe.
Nice talking to you, Joe.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Joe Rullo, ladies and gentlemen. Your future governor, Joe Rullo. Wow.
Talking to future governors on the podcast today.
I love that guy. Yeah, kids, that was Joe Rullo on the phone just now. He's going to be your governor someday. So he's a very smart man. Make sure you listen to everything he had to say. We like him a lot. Joe Rullo. Yes, Joe Rullo. All these kids, you got the kids, Joe. They're all shouting your name.
They're all yelling Rullo in Trenton.
Rullo, 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 Rullo. See? I love these kids.
Rullo.
It just rolls off the tongue. It's like Rullo. Can you roll your R's?
No. Rullo. Rullo has ridges. No, I can't.
All right, Joe Rullo.
I'm hungry.
Oh, let's call the joint. Let's get some food delivered.
Will they deliver?
Yeah, let's see if...
All right.
Hold on, what'd you say?
I'm sorry, I thought we were calling that man Dan.
We are. We're going to get to Doug. Doug.
We have work to do. We can't get lunch.
Yeah. We'll call Doug in a minute. Let me call and get some lunch for us at the joint.
We have him on hold for over an hour.
I know. Well, Ken's hungry. I think he's right.
I want to eat. Where's the food at?
Where's the Weed Man's joint number? I don't have it. Hold on. Give me a second here. Let me find the Weed Man's joint while you cover the dead air while I do this. How about that?
That sounds like fun. I got that in. Dead air is not cool. Dude, we need to fly. We need to fly a state of bag at one of his events. See,
I know he's waiting. I'm sorry, David. We got the future governor on the line. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was going to go after this.
You're on the air. Hi, David. Yeah, turn your computer down. I got you on the air now. I'm sorry about that. I can't hear you, Joe. I can't hear you, David.
Okay, hold on.
That's better.
Let me try this.
That's better.
Okay, is that any better?
Yeah, that's better. How are you?
Okay. Let's try one more thing. I've got you on speaker right now. Let me take you off speaker.
Yeah, take me off speakerphone. Thank you.
Okay.
That's much better.
Okay, is that any better?
Yeah, it's much better. How you doing, buddy?
Okay, beautiful. Doing well.
How you feeling? You feeling any better? David? Yeah.
David, I'm Ken Wolski from the Executive Director of the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey.
Oh, man, you're breaking up bad.
He did call. I don't know what happened there. Hold on. Let me try the Weed Man's joint real quick. Get the food over here, and then we'll call Dave.
Incidentally, the taxes, while you're making that call, Senator Scutari proposed a rate of 7% in year, 10% in year 2, 15% in year 3, 20% in year 4, and 25% in year 5 and beyond. But he also said that he wanted to monitor that closely to make sure that the taxes were not to such an extent that it just encouraged illegal activity. So, I don't think that those numbers were set in stone, too, Lefty. I think that was just more or less an initial proposal, a kind of ballpark figure that really would be, fine-tuned as the years went by.
All right, let's see. I think they deliver. Let's find out. If not, we'll just go down and pick it up. Or someone will pick it up for us. Let's talk to the Weed Man's Joint. We love this place. This is where we all go after the Trenton podcast. Gonna surprise them. They're gonna be mad at me. I know. Lefty, why do you do this? Why don't you tell us you're gonna call first and then not surprise us? Because they're probably out in the back smoking. They're probably out medicating in the back.
You have reached 609.
How are you?
So it looks like we're just getting an
Hey.
answering machine from the Weed Man's Joint. We're hoping to get some sustenance here. But I'd be willing to give up my chair for Leo for a little while so that
Actually, come here, Leo. You can have my seat. Or sit there if you want. Yeah, have a seat. Go ahead. Leo Bridgewater, ladies and gentlemen. Right here. Stay there, Ken. You're good. I'm going to take a break.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Are we on camera?
Yes. Right
So,
there.
Leo, Leo, it's such a pleasure to have you come here today to
Thank you.
the
Thank you.
podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm filling in for Jim Miller. Jim is in Canada today, so getting his brother situated
Oh,
up
yeah,
in
that's right.
upper Ontario.
Yeah, they drove up.
Yeah. Some sad
Yeah.
news. Jim's mother's in hospice now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he told me.
Yeah, so it's sad. It's a sad time and a difficult time for the
Rani.
for the Millers. So, but at any rate, so he's not here today, and so welcome.
Thank you.
Leo.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wanted to come by. I have my team here. I have the beautiful Miss Tianna Long, Mr. Rani Soto, and Grizzly Beaucourt from a Rebel-Minded Society. And we have been actually touring the city of Trenton since this morning.
Oh, how nice.
And we're in the midst of coming up with sort of a battle plan in terms of how do we, get the community informed in regards to the cannabis industry, trying to come up with a battle plan with how we're going to execute a way to bring the industry here and get people informed about it. Tianna's had some, she's had some pretty serious eye-opening moments today, seeing, this is her first time in Trenton and getting the dime tour.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see, the demographics of different cities, and every city is different. So when you're thinking about cannabis and how to bring it into a city, it's important to look at the individualistic components of a city. So, yeah, it's been a very interesting day.
So what do you think?
It has potential. Trenton is a beautiful city. The history here is rich. It's just a matter, you got to take time. Nothing happens in a day. So,
So where are you from, Tianna?
I'm from Oakland, California,
Oakland.
originally.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but living in New York right now.
Excellent. Yeah. And so what's your connection to Trenton then?
Mr. Bridgewater here.
Mr. Bridgewater.
Yeah, Mr. Bridgewater. Yeah.
All right.
I'm a consumer of knowledge, so I'm always looking to understand what's going on in different cities, and following the cannabis industry and its evolution, because it's going to have an extreme social impact, and we just want to make sure that that's a more positive impact than a negative one.
I submitted a grant application to a community foundation called I Am Trenton that would give us $5,000 to educate the public in East Trenton, which actually is not really East Trenton. It's a specific neighborhood in North Trenton that is considered East Trenton, and it's the poorest neighborhood in Trenton, and Trenton is the poorest city in the state of New Jersey. So we would like to educate this really neighborhood that's been devastated by the drug war to the benefits of legalizing marijuana, how stopping these arrests that are primarily for black people, and stopping the social consequences that these arrests entail, and educating the public about how important it is to legalize marijuana, and also to how they can benefit from this new industry that's coming. So that's where we'd like to go. Of course, we don't know if we're going to get the grant yet, and we won't know until June 9th, but that's something that I'm working on right now, Tianna.
Absolutely, and I think that's critical, especially in terms of decriminalization. It's also important to, as you're doing that, making sure that you're getting all of the other, public resources ready, because all these people who are in jail or need expungement, what's next for them, So providing that pathway, because, once you get legalization, that's good for people that are able to, participate as owners. But what does that mean for, all the other people?
The people who wouldn't be owners.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, Ken is actually a lifelong resident here. We actually went through his neighborhood. And so a few of the questions that they had, I was unable to answer. So, but I'm willing to bet you probably know a lot. So one of the questions was, what is the poverty level here in Trenton?
25% of the people in Trenton live in poverty.
So it's off by 5.
It's a dreadful situation. We think that 40% of the children here in Trenton suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder simply by virtue of the fact that they live in situations of poverty and violence.
Yeah, I took them down Stuyvesant.
Stuyvesant Avenue. It's a couple blocks from my home, and I live in a little enclave that is stable and nice, but I can hear the gunshots outside my window, from just a couple blocks away. And that's where I used to hang out when I was a teenager. So it's the situation now in Trenton is so much different than when it was when I grew up. I graduated from Trenton High School in 1966, and the violence that's been associated with the drug war is just ever escalating, and the poverty and the violence is just increasing. So, what we're doing is we're doing wrong, and we need to stop doing it, and we need to stop, having these inner cities in New Jersey and in America really as ground zero for the war on drugs.
Absolutely.
That's where they're most severely prosecuted. Blacks are 3 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana offenses than whites, despite similar rates of usage. It's almost impossible to stand inside the city of Trenton and not be in a school zone. So if you're in a school zone and you get busted, you face enhanced penalties, greatly enhanced penalties that the same person in an urban or a suburb, in a rural or a suburban location does not face. So, and if you're poor, you do not have the resources to work your way through the criminal justice system the way people who are not poor do. So, it just so unfairly victimizes people in the inner city. Just makes me upset.
No, these are the conversations that I love to have every day, and making people realize this is real, and this is people's lives, and especially in inner cities that are heavily minority. You can't, when you're looking at cannabis and bringing it into conversation, you can't just look at Colorado and Washington, because they don't have the same demographics. What works there is not going to work in somewhere like Trenton. Initially, maybe you can get to that, but there's some deep rooted wicked problems that are moving down there.
Well, you got to think about cannabis went legal in 2010. So what was 2008 like? What was 2007, 6? What were those years like? What did it look like then? What did those areas look like then? Because that's where we are in relation. And so Again, you can't say everything that happened in Colorado is going to happen here, especially when you're talking about an area that's just 7.2 square miles.
Right.
One of the things that, like, in trying to come up with our game plan, and before we issue out marching orders, we're also looking at constructing a model that if you just take out the word Trenton and you can put in the word Jersey City,
Right.
you can put in Linden, you can put in Newark, it can work. But I believe that Trenton is an excellent jumping off point, just because when you look at from our strategic location within the state, an hour from New York, half hour from Philly.
And we're the capital city. We're the capital
Exactly.
of New Jersey,
Yeah, it's embarrassing that the capital city of New Jersey is the poorest city in New Jersey.
The poorest city in New Jersey.
Yeah, that
not a
doesn't
good
even.
look.
Yeah, it's not a good look at all. And what's even worse is, again, you have a lot of people who do not know to be embarrassed by this. You have a lot of people that do not know that we even have a medical marijuana program. And so there's so many things, that are, coming about, in such a fast way. The thing is that getting that information out to the people, it's
the transparency of information is going to need to be beefed up.
and also what to do with that information too.
Yeah, and how you're directing people and letting them know what their opportunities are with the information, because you can't you give people information, but you have to make sure it's information that has action. Like, what can I do with this? What are my next steps? Making sure that that's clear.
This drug war has been going on for decades too. So we're seeing generations of people who've been adversely affected by this war on drugs. I'm a registered nurse. I've been an RN in Trenton in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania for 41 years, and I worked for the New Jersey Department of Corrections for 22 years as an RN. And in that time, I started with the DOC in 1984, and there were 9,000 inmates. And when I retired in 2006, there were 27,000 inmates in the New Jersey correctional system, the state system alone, not counting the counties and the local jails. 86% of those 27,000 prisoners were black and Hispanic. So it. And the reason for the terrific escalation was the war on drugs, enhanced penalties for drug offenses, and enhanced enforcement of drug laws. So that's really had such a devastating impact on our inner cities, and one of the things is that these convictions they last a lifetime. The results of it. It affects the education, the employment, the
dynamics of a family,
the jobs. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
The socioeconomic status of a family.
One of the things that and I tell people when I talk about this, one of the things that this does for me is it takes a conversation away from between me and the police.
Medicinal marijuana program.
Yep, that's what this does. That $150 I spend every 90 days. That's what I'm really paying for. I'm just paying for freedom of being able to medicate however I need to, but also not having to have a conversation with the police.
Such a difference. And of course, there's only like 10,000, 11,000 people in the entire state of New Jersey that are lucky enough to have cards like you do, Leo.
Yeah, I think it's like 11,000 so far.
11,000
and when I
is what
first
they
started,
say.
it was 7.
Right.
Well,
Right.
like
Because of your efforts to get PTSD added as a qualifying condition, the program has greatly expanded, and so we're very grateful for your efforts there, Leo.
I'm grateful to have been in a position to be able to have some sort of an impact, whatever that impact may be. But I have to be honest with you, I wouldn't be where I am today if it not for your effort and and the efforts of LeftyGrimes. Now, let me tell you something about Lefty. When I talk about the Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act, CUMA laws here in New Jersey, one of the problems that we have is that they're not being disseminated to the different municipalities. And when I talk about this to state legislators and stuff like that, and they go, "Oh, really? Well, I don't understand. How is it not? What do you mean no one knows about it?" And it's real easy for me to pull up a YouTube video and show them Lefty and what he does, because what he does is he goes to different municipalities And he asked them, where can I go and consume my medical marijuana? And a lot of times they have no idea that there's even a Kuma law, so they'll threaten to lock him up. They'll get really belligerent. It gets nasty. As a matter of fact, Lefty and one of his friends made headlines because they wanted to consume their medical cannabis on the boardwalk on the shore here in Jersey. And the cops were like, no. They were nice. They weren't horrible, but it was they didn't know. And the thing is what they said was a couple of them said, well, this is a new law.
Yeah, new law.
No, it's not.
Passed in 2010, and it was introduced into the legislature in 2005. So it's been around for a while here in New Jersey.
And that also just speaks to how involved are people in the politics of what's actually going on to understand what their rights actually are. So even if you get things passed here, making sure that the citizens are aware so that they can fully participate.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It speaks to what the problem is here in Trenton is not as it's indicative of the problem overall throughout the state of New Jersey. And so understand that the New Jersey medical marijuana program has been the bane of Governor Christie's existence, and the way it is run is reflective of that. It is very reflective. We have to spend $100 and something every 90 days, plus another couple $100 once a year.
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years, and then we have to spend an ounce will cost you like over almost $425. So
we have the most expensive medical marijuana in the nation here in the state of New Jersey because the program is so tightly regulated. By the Department of Health. There is so many redundant security measures and policies and procedures that they required. So some of it was good, but much of it was unnecessary and unnecessarily rigorous. And it is. Governor Christie didn't support the law. He said as soon as he came into office that he would not have signed the law. So he started a series of delays and impediments into the really meaningful implementation of the compassionate use medical marijuana law. But I have to at least give the governor his due. He did sign the PTSD bill, which he said was the right thing to do. So he at least made one expansion, and he tried to make it a little easier for minors to get access to medical marijuana.
He waited, and the thing is, he waited to the last day to actually sign it, which tells you that, and you have to understand, when he said a lot of the mean and terrible things that he said about cannabis and the medical marijuana program, at the time he was saying these things, a lot of these things, the number 20 to 22 veteran suicides a day was not being thrown out. And I think it's like 5 a week in New Jersey. And so, he was in the middle of a presidential election. He was in, it just wasn't a good look. And mind you, at that point, he was like the first to jump on the Donald Trump crazy train. And so, and at that time, Donald Trump was all for veterans and making sure that we had everything that we need. So when it came to medical cannabis, it wouldn't have been a good look to not add PTSD. Wouldn't have been. It was just all, the political winds were just in our favor at that time.
And Mr. Trump supported medical marijuana.
He does,
So he certainly recognizes the safety and efficacy of medical marijuana. And so, the other thing that Governor Christie did was he allowed the expansion of the program to go ahead right now. So right now the Department of Health has accepted 45 petitions to add qualifying conditions to the medicinal marijuana program, and the panel of medical experts that the Department of Health appointed has approved 43 of the 45 petitions, including opiate use disorder, migraine headaches, which is kind of ironic because Governor Christie made a big deal about I would never allow marijuana for a headache. And you know,
and then he signed, and he allowed.
And here his expert panel has just approved marijuana for migraine headaches. But I mean, somebody who makes a comment like that is just clear that A, they're not a healthcare professional, and
Right.
B, they've never had a migraine headache. They don't realize how debilitating those things can
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
But the chronic pain was approved. Autism was approved. So if these expansions of the medical marijuana program go ahead in New Jersey, we're going to see it's going to be a much more vigorous program and much more meaningful, and certainly a lot more than 10,000 people are going to be able to take advantage of it, Leo.
Yeah, and the good part is when you look at all those new qualifying conditions on top of the PTSD, we pretty much got Trenton covered. We pretty much have the city covered. Now it's just getting people enrolled. If not, also being able to work in the industry. I keep going back to bringing the industry in, and like you said,
right.
thinking about beyond the industry too, and what else other than this industry can they do?
Well, first of all, expungement. Expungement of records
Expungement's
is very important. You have to, get rid of these records that are really tying the hands of people who are trying to get ahead and trying to reintegrate themselves into society. They just can't do that with a criminal record.
Right.
So, get rid of it. Right now, Senator Scutari's bill that he just introduced 2 days ago, he, it does include an expungement provision, and we're happy about that. It does provide for, I have 63 pages of how it's going to legalize, tax, and regulate marijuana in New Jersey for adults, and it's very important considerations. Of course, the problem is that it does not include a home cultivation provision, which I was really hoping that we could, empower the residents, regardless of income, to at least be able to produce their own medicine and produce their own intoxicant or spiritual aid, whatever they use it for, creative inspiration, whatever, to have access to marijuana therapy. But right now, home cultivation is not a part of this bill, and that is a serious weakness.
Rani and I were reading a bit of it on the train over here this morning. There are some things that are going to need to be improved about the bill for sure, but I think just the fact that it's on the table is a good start.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was thrilled to have it introduced.
Me too. I was super excited. The only problem that I have is that a lot of people who are in opposition they're just in opposition, but they're not talking about the good things that are in this bill.
Right.
And these are things that, when you're talking about changing a law, legislative, and all that stuff, there's some compromises here. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that I'm compromising. I'm not saying I don't want home grow. I think that can be in there, but who's to say that they're not going to be willing, if we get home grown, then that means we might have to keep it at that 25%. Yeah. There's got to be some give and take here. But what we can't do is we can't get into the idea or the business of killing something that hasn't even gotten started yet.
Right.
That's the thing. It's not worth. It's not. It can't be an all or nothing.
Yeah.
And that's the wrong way of doing things, and we could end up in the same type of situation that they're in now in Florida. They did so much arguing over the money and how it was going to happen that they actually killed their bill.
Yeah.
Right.
They killed their whole medical marijuana program.
Things get lost when you focus on the money. Yes, there's going to be a lot of money, but at the end of the day, you need to see the vision for what you want out of your city. How do you want your city to be developed? How you want the people in the city? How is their life going to be improved? What can Canada do?
Yeah, and then you think about this too. It's also making sure that having people understand how powerful they really are.
Right.
And at this time, to be a citizen of New Jersey, you're actually a very powerful citizen, and you're a very powerful person in 2017. In 2017, there's only 2 states who are having gubernatorial races, New Jersey and Virginia. That's it. And so when you look at the climate, particularly the political climate, regardless of what your party affiliation may be, depending on what we do, you'll know how much work you have to do. So whether you're a Democrat or Republican, conservative, liberal, whatever, depending on what New Jersey and Virginia does, you'll know how much work you have to get done for 2018, because what's happening in 2018? Midterms. And so we're actually a little extra strong right now. It's not a good time to be against this type of thing. And, the thing is just that empowering people and helping them to understand that you're not going to always be this kind of strong. We have the eyes of the country on us right now, and they're going to want to know what we going to do. Now, not voting is not one of the things that we can do. We cannot have a low voter turnout, no matter what it is. And I'm sure you've seen it on TV, and a lot of other people have seen it on TV, where you have these senators who are coming home and congressmen, they're coming home and they're having these town hall meetings, and they're jam-packed, and people are going off. People are hooping and hollering and angry and mad, and they don't know, and one guy was stuffing money down another guy's shirt, and one man told a politician, when you going to stop being a politician and start being an American? It's real. Like, this is, and where you really show that anger, where it actually plays out, is in the voting booth. But
felony disenfranchisement,
I was just about to say that,
so many minorities can lose the right to vote now. And when they even if they do not lose the right to vote, they think they lost the right to vote.
Yes.
Because nobody realizes in New Jersey, even a felon, if he's served his time and off of parole and he's done with the criminal justice system, he can apply
Still
to have
vote.
his voting rights. He can re-register to vote, and he can vote.
Yeah, got to give that to Christie too. Got to give him that one too.
Yeah,
that was a Chris Christie thing. So got to give him props on that one. If you had a record, you can still vote.
Yeah. So
And how many people know that?
people don't know that.
And how many
Yeah.
people, you have to, after so long of not voting, to get
Right.
them
Yeah.
in that
Right.
in that
Yeah.
groove
Right.
again, to
Yeah.
be a part of the political process, to create those changes,
Yeah.
and be a voice for people just like them.
Yeah, I've had these kinds of conversations, but they're more like 4 to 5 people at the most. Just on the humble, and I'm just you can vote. No, I can't. No, seriously, you can vote. We're one of the few states in the country that you can still vote. And they go, really? And it's like, so then it turns into a teaching lesson, teachable moment. It's like,
How do you get it from word of mouth to
Right.
To the masses?
yeah, right. Because see, here's the thing: when you get out of when you're ETSing, getting out of the military, you cannot get out of the military without acknowledging that you have certain amount of information. You have to know when to go to the VA. They have to sign off on that. They have to sign off on whether how to what your rights are. Where you're going to live, how much money. Everything has a go, no go. And so when you get out, you already know, you should have a basic understanding of what services are available to you based on your military service. Okay, there's nothing like that happening out here.
No.
And instead, the idea of my vote don't mean anything, that idea in the city of Trenton has now gone generational. Remember when I told you that and I was showing you that there's a lot of multifamily homes in the city?
Right.
Yeah, there's also multi-generational homes too. And so what happens is that way of thinking is prevalent within these homes, where you have a grandmother, a mother, and children who are of voting age, and all 3 generations think their vote don't matter, or 2 out of the 3 in the house think that. Because see, here, when we had the last election locally, and I told you 9,000 people voted, majority of that 9,000 were old people. That's how it. So now that we have recreational cannabis on the books here, getting ready to go on the books, and we're talking about it. Again, these are things that if there's something in there like home grow that is not a part of this bill, and you want it in there, now this is when you need to talk to your local legislator.
Right.
Make those phone calls.
Right, and address the concerns that the
Yes.
That's
senators,
it. And address the concerns, figure out what the compromise is.
Yeah, you can do that. You actually can come into this building. I've done it,
Yeah.
You have the right to walk in this building, and they don't stop you, and you can go and, whenever they're voting on something. We were there when they added PTSD.
Yeah.
But how important is it to the people to make that effort? And I think it's critical. It's going to be critical to make that connection for people to understand how the cannabis industry is going to affect them.
Right.
Not just being a user, but the dollars behind it and the positive impact that it's going to have. How is that going to affect my life, my kids' life, my grandkids' life? Like, what does this look like 20 years down the line?
Yeah, because see, the first thing you hear people say is there are people still using gateway drug. Right. They're still saying that. And it's like, no, that's.
I don't even know. It's hard to believe that's still the rhetoric.
Yeah.
Absolute myth that's been discredited so many times by so many scientific organizations.
They talk about.
It's hard to believe that our own governor is still
using that old debunked thinking. Hey guys, how you doing? Did you enjoy yourselves? Good.
Yeah. A lot of kids go take tours of the state house. The state police call this the people's house. So this is your house. Take advantage of it. You can contact your legislators. This is part of the government process. This is democracy at work.
Basically, you work for me, and I'm going to tell you what I think, and you're going to, hopefully your politics will be reflective of what it is that I want. If not, you can go. I mean, it's really like that serious, that simple. If you get enough people, the thing about, if we can get 30,000 people in this city just to register and vote, 30 more thousand people, what the significance of that, we can move mountains with that kind of number. 30,000 people voting, and 30,000 people from the city of Trenton voting means that there's an aide running into the governor's office and saying, sir, 30,000 people in Trenton just voted. That means that, if there's a presidential election, they come here to talk to you.
And there's new people that they need to talk to.
So we got to get people re-engaged into the process, and it's just, cannabis is, we were talking about this, and you were asking me, well, what more? And it's like there's all of these ancillary businesses that can come about that, it's not just, you don't actually have to touch the plant. Right. There's glass blowing. There's what about the commercial equipment businesses?
There's a whole technology business behind this.
Construction jobs. These things got to be built. We're going to need electricians. We're going to need testing labs and stuff like that. Yeah. So there are so many types of jobs that we can actually do. We're in the process of getting ready to start building a database where we can get people's email addresses and start collecting them and having them ready, so that when the time comes and the industry takes off, particularly here in the city of Trenton, we can get these people, we at least get them the information and inform and say, hey, look, this is where you need to send your application to. This is where it's coming. But we're a couple of years away from that. So because we're a couple of years away from that, that means we got a couple of years to build up this database within the city and get these people, and then also keep them engaged. Because we're not just going to take your email address. We're also going to be pumping out, updates. Here's what's going on. Here's where it's going on. This is who's doing it.
And how you can get involved.
Yeah, and how you can get involved. When you're making up your application or you're making up your resume, you might want to add this to it. This is what they're looking for. These are the type of positions that they're looking for. Trimmers, growers, all of that. Bud tenders, factory, the commercial business, the commercial equipment side of it all.
Well, we send out, our Coalition for Medical Marijuana New Jersey sends out about 1,000 emails a month from our database. So, we'd be happy to publicize your project, Leo, and let the people know. So, when you're ready, let me know, and I'll certainly include a link to what you're doing. Now, is this part of Operation Broken Arrow that
yes,
you were
it
talking
is.
about?
Yes, this is all part of Operation Broken Arrow, and getting the industry. Operation Broken Arrow is having a very... Broken Arrow in the military is a distress call. It means an American has been overrun. Your perimeter has been overrun by enemy personnel. And so when you call Broken Arrow, you're asking for combat support to come drop their ordinance on your position to clear these people out, to clear out the enemy. And so when standing in the city of Trenton, I always feel like, I'm overrun. The city has been overrun by an opioid abuse and addiction epidemic. The city has been overrun by poverty-driven politics. Just the same old, same old. And so I am calling Broken Arrow, and it's to the industry, and actually, Tianna, Rani, and Grizzly represent the beginnings of, that response to Broken Arrow.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Pleasure to meet you all.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you
We're
for
gonna get
having
going.
us.
We got. I'm not finished giving the tour. We're gonna see some more of the city, and then we're gonna have a meet.
Oh, well, that's great. Pose for a picture here.
Yeah.
If you can get a little closer together, I'll
Let me
get you. And because what they say, if it doesn't happen on Facebook, it didn't really happen. So we'll do a quick photo with the four of you right now, and that's very nice. 1, 2, and we'll do just one more as 1, 2, 3. Yes. So thank you very much, Tianna, Rani, and Grizzly, and Leo for stopping by our podcast today. Thank you very much, Rani.
Yeah. That's Grizzly Bocourt of A Rebel Minded Society,
Thank you.
and Ronnie Soto of High and Y. I'm sorry, I Deserve Cannabis Cultural. I Deserve Cannabis, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Tianna Long of
Medisi, Medisi.
All right.
MEDSI. Medici. Great, Ronnie. And Tianna. And Ronnie, I know that I'm friends with you on Facebook, so I follow you. So great. I left
See you
face,
guys
and
later.
I haven't met you before, Grizzly, but it's great. Pleasure meeting you, and good luck in what you're doing. And thank you so much for coming to Trenton. Thank you. So, we're talking about the legislation to legalize marijuana in New Jersey. Of course, as you all know, State Senator Nicholas Scutari introduced legislation to legalize, regulate, and tax marijuana in New Jersey on Monday, May 15th, 2017 at noon in room 103 of the State House here in Trenton. He did it because of the many benefits of legalization and the many harms that are associated with the prohibition of marijuana. And, it was just so encouraging to hear a New Jersey elected state senator and a respected member of the legislature, the head of the Judiciary Committee, talk about the many benefits of legalizing marijuana and the many harms that are associated with prohibition, because it's something that we've been saying for many, many decades, and to hear it echoed in the halls of state government was just so encouraging, and that our message is finally being heard among legislators. It seems that legislators are always kind of behind the curve on this. When we were getting our push for medical marijuana in New Jersey, there was a poll done that said 86% of the people in the state of New Jersey supported medical marijuana, and yet we couldn't even get a vote on the medical marijuana bill. So that was very distressing to have that kind of support in the legislature, and to have so few legislators actually endorse medical marijuana. But they're always kind of behind the curve. I guess they're a very conservative group. And thank you, Ronnie. thank you, Tony. And it's very good to hear that the legislature is finally catching up to the people here, because the Coalition for Medical Marijuana in New Jersey endorsed legalization of marijuana a couple of years ago due to the failure, really, of the medicinal marijuana program to meet the needs of so many patients here in New Jersey. We say that marijuana legalization is the most efficient and effective way to meet the needs of the many patients who can benefit from the therapeutic properties of marijuana. And simply put, legalizing marijuana is the best way to meet the needs of the most amount of patients in New Jersey. How did I say that before, Dan?
I've heard that. What is it?
to get the medicine to the people who are in need.
Right. Legalizing cannabis is the best way to get the right medicine to the most people. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that was the one.
The best way to get the right medicine to the most people. Only the Medical Marijuana Act passed in 2010, but only about 11,000 people have actually gotten medical marijuana ID cards. And and here we have a state with almost 9 million people. We only have 5 alternative treatment centers in the state opened. That's like having 5, CVS's in the entire state open, and thinking that you have a working pharmacy program. It's hundreds of thousands of people in New Jersey could benefit from marijuana therapy, perhaps 1 million or more. If you live in the Garden State, you have a 1 in 3 chance of having a cancer diagnosis at some point in your life, and you have a 1 in 3 chance of having chronic pain at some point in your life, and we all die, and marijuana helps with some of the common problems associated with terminal illnesses like no other drug. So so many people could benefit from marijuana therapy. But hi, Ariel, how are you? All right.
Hi, Ariel.
People passing by, welcome to sit down and join the conversation. And the harms that are associated with prohibition are the disproportionate racial impact of these harms. It's just a tragedy that New Jersey, that especially the inner cities, live under this policy of prohibition. So it certainly is heartwarming that we have legalization, a new legalization bill that was introduced 2 days ago by Senator Scutari, and that we can talk about the limitations of the bill. 95% of the bill is good. There might be 5% of it that I don't agree with, or that some other people have criticized. But you have to really focus on the 95% that's good in this bill. Everything that the senator says is very, very positive, I think, in this bill, or nearly everything. It's the intent of the people of New Jersey to adopt a new approach to our marijuana policies by taxing, controlling, and legalizing marijuana like alcohol for adults. And that is just so important, and we certainly hope that we get this done here in New Jersey in a timely manner. And I think Senator Scutari's intent in introducing this in May is to discuss these issues and to work with people to find out what are the shortcomings of the problems. Does this system of taxation really is it going to work? And we may not find that out until the program actually gets started. The taxes he has proposed for recreational marijuana are an escalating tax rate of 7% in the first year, 10% in year 2, 15% in the third year, 20% in year 4, and 25% in year 5 and beyond. So, it sounds like an awful lot, 25% tax after 5 years, but, you're going to have 5 years to work on this, and I think the senator is quite aware that if the tax is so great that it only encourages illegal activity, then that tax rate is going to have to be revisited again. We certainly would like to do away with the tax on medicinal marijuana, and we don't think it's appropriate for medical marijuana to be taxed. No medicine in New Jersey is taxed, and yet medical marijuana, in addition to the patients in New Jersey having to pay the most amount of money for medical marijuana of any state in the country, they are socked with a 7% sales tax on top of that. So it just really puts it out of the hands of so many people who are desperately ill and have been impoverished by their illness. So, we certainly recognize that a lot of things need to be revisited in this issue, both medically and for recreational purposes. And a lot of people were concerned about smoking. You know, right now, medical marijuana patients are allowed to smoke basically anywhere you can smoke cigarettes, and adult use of marijuana is not going to be allowed for to be used in public. So that was a concern. Would medical patients lose their right to use marijuana in public? And on page 39 of the bill, the medical marijuana provisions, it says that nothing in this bill would limit any privileges or rights of a medical marijuana patient, primary caregiver, or licensed entity as provided in the New Jersey Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act. So I think that addresses that issue. We're not restricting medical patients at all. You've got certain rights as medical patients, and this bill will ensure and keep those rights.
Right. But people are all up in arms, as me, as well as I, about no home cultivation, right?
Right.
But if you think about it, it's good. It's at least the right step in the right direction, especially because, like, think about it. We're not technically allowed to. Alcohol is legal and everything. We're not technically allowed to, have moonshine distilleries.
Well,
I know it's different because
you can actually. You can.
Oh, you can?
You can brew a certain amount of beer, and you can make your
Oh,
own
yeah,
wine in
yeah,
New Jersey.
That's true.
And people
That's
do,
true,
and
yeah.
it has a very small impact on the overall industry, the alcohol industry.
They've got in fact, it's legal. I was looking into it once. You can make something. I think it was like 20 gallons from a still.
Right.
Like you could make a moonshine.
Right.
And like you get 20 gallons if as long as you don't sell it.
Right.
I forgot.
So and so many people are very upset, and I certainly support home cultivation, Ariel.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Me too.
I don't think it's a dead issue. I think that what the most effective thing that advocates can do is to try to address the concerns. Don't condemn this bill. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You got 95% of stuff that is good in this bill. Don't say that this bill is wrong because it doesn't contain everything that I want it to contain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree there.
It's,
It's all right.
Hold on. Come over here. Try and figure it out.
Here, let me just talk to you about that.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to say that, I believe, if nothing else, being able to stop arresting people and expunging people's records possibly and getting the medicine into people's hands easier is well worth pushing this bill forward, even without the home grow aspect. We need to work on that, at least for the medical patients, but no, I would not throw this bill away at all. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Right. And that's an interesting point, Tony, too, that you could provide home growing for medical patients. You could say, well, that was in the original Compassionate Use Medical Marijuana Act, that patients would be allowed to grow 6 plants each if they had an ID card and a qualifying condition. Well, we could restore that perhaps to the medical program. Right now we only have 11,000 people in the medical program, but if all the panel's recommendations are approved by the Department of Health, why that medical program would expand by 10 or 20 times. So that would be a significant 150,000 people being able to, having the ability at any rate to grow 6 plants, under a tightly controlled situation. To me that would be a very workable compromise.
For sure.
Now, Senator Scutari expressed concern about diversion to the illegal market from the homegrown. Do you have any thoughts about how this might be addressed? How those legitimate concerns might be addressed? I think that's what advocates really need to do, is to say, well, how much is being diverted? How much of an impact is this really having on the overall economic, distribution of marijuana?
Right. I think they need to stop focusing so much on revenue and start thinking about the actual people and what they need. Like, imagine if you had a kid that had epilepsy and you'd rather personally make their own edibles instead of buying them from a dispensary,
Right.
or You know, because you know, like, especially as a mother, you want to give your kid, like, what you feel is right. You know, and I'm a believer in cannabis medicine for all people, not just adults, not just, but especially children, you know.
Mhm.
Like, they go through so much. Like, they should be able to enjoy a little bit of, you know, feel good every once in a while.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know, it's a very important consideration. You know that people want to know exactly what their child's getting. You know, they want to be have a handle on it. So you know, it's a very important consideration that that home cultivation be included as a provision at a minimum for medical patients and their families.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
For sure.
Oh, what a gorgeous day.
So happy that expungement is also part of this law. That you know, people will have an opportunity to expunge their criminal records for offenses, presumably if they were nonviolent and weren't associated with other offenses, and you know, and that endless impact that these convictions have on people's lives, the employment opportunities that are available to them, the educational, the housing opportunities, the family life. It's you know, people used to say that marijuana lowered your IQ. Well, I'll tell you what really lowers your IQ is being thrown in prison. You know that you know, that's what really lowers people's IQ. And if you're arresting people for marijuana offenses, if you're at all concerned about it, you know, you got to stop arresting people, because you know, you not only lower the IQ of the person in prison, but you lower the socioeconomic status of his entire family. You deprive the children of the love and guidance of a parent, and when you do this enough times in a community, you can lower the IQ of an entire community. So
It's done intentionally.
Intentional, yeah.
Well, it may be intentional, you know.
Yeah.
The system is racist. I believe
I
it.
was just about to
I'm
say
a
that.
white guy, and I'm saying it.
I was just about to say that.
See, I don't like the idea of being called white. I mean, to me, this piece of paper is white, or the White House is white. I prefer being called Caucasian. I think.
How about human?
Yeah, I like that.
When I'm given the opportunity.
Yeah.
Or Anglo, one or the other. Or no, it might be Anglo-Caucasian.
Get over it, cracker.
Dan, you must speak on a mic.
You got to talk on a mic. That's rule step one.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No, none of that either. Give us the meat. Give us the meat, Dan. Give us the meat.
Meat. Okay.
You're talking about the Caucasians.
I'm on the air now.
Yes.
Are there people out there?
Yes.
Oh my God! Really? You were just awesome for like 2 seconds, and now you just shut down. Will you just say what you said before? It was brilliant.
I'm listening.
It was
Dan.
brilliant.
Dan, I'm listening.
Are they alive? Listening to every word.
Come on, Danny.
What was I working on?
Danny,
What
all right.
was it before?
Caucasians.
Come on.
versus-
Oh yeah. And when did colored get a bad name? Nothing's wrong with the colored, right? Anyway,
Well, now they say people of color. apparently.
there's no end to it though,
Yeah.
because it'll get all mixed up again. Because time marches on. I mean, we got African. What is it? African Americans, Haitian Americans, Jamaican Americans. We got you know.
A to Z, right?
Latino Americans, Asian Americans.
So maybe that'll stick. Maybe African American is a good one for that. For preferred identity label. You know, all that.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. I said that same thing Ken said about. You know, I'd rather be Caucasian than white. You know, I mean, it makes me feel a little more comfortable.
Well, I don't know. True, but I mean, it's all good in the hood, right?
Oh, and we have a guest
Yeah.
has just arrived.
Welcome, Alexis, to the show. Lex. Lex.
How are you, beautiful people?
Good. How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Good. Feeling groovy?
Feeling very groovy.
Sorry, guys.
That was a love bump, right, when you bumped the microphone?
You shouldn't put it all the way up. You should put it a little bit down.
What's that? Say it to the mic. You can complain about me. Go ahead, do it. Do it.
These things, I know it might sound.
What are you doing?
I know it might
Mike,
sound
put
a
this
little
down.
quiet.
We're trying to do a professional
that
show.
That wasn't even the mic. Oh, was that the mic?
We can't do that, Dan.
Oh, the white one.
Dan, we can't do that.
Turn it with this. I know you've been doing this a lot longer than I have, but you bought or speakers if you always keep them.
Yeah, it's called unity gain, and you have to keep it at unity gain, which is important. But that's not important right now.
I turned it down.
The important thing is our cannabis law, and we have to make some phone calls.
Okay.
I have to call David Dawson. I have to call some victimized patients in the country. There's so much stuff going on here. All right. Oh, shit. Audio problems. Got that. I'm putting out fires. Sorry, guys. When I'm putting out fires, you guys can continue the show. I'm just trying to do stuff here and produce while I'm...
Right, no dead air, right?
Yeah, well, I hate dead air, but I can't do everything while I'm producing. I'm sorry.
All right, well, I'm going to find a little...
Well, there are some people who have a little more experience about dead air, right?
Just like Google.
I mean, we got 4 mics and only one right now is talking.
Are we going to order food from the joint?
Oh,
You want to try that again?
Later.
Did Ken Wolski leave?
No,
All right, Ken, are we going to order food? Let's try it again. We could do that.
Right now?
Yeah, I think we were supposed to order food. We're supposed to call David Dawson. We're supposed to call a bunch of people.
Why don't you just go to joint after the
Yeah, we
podcast?
dropped the ball on them, didn't we?
Yeah. All right, let's try.
We'll
just
keep apologizing. We'll catch up with you. Dan? Is that his name, Dan?
Well, there's David. There's a victimized patient that we have to get to. Give me a second.
All right, I'm going to find some info. Can you find Google? Google.
You guys can continue to talk. I'm busy right now.
So, Ariel, why don't you start up a topic?
So we're here in Trenton in New Jersey, and we're supposed to be talking about cannabis as we're sitting here doing nothing. I am Tony Liberte. I was on 480 milligrams of oxycodone every single day. I never got out of bed for about 3 years practically. I actually became incontinent at one point, and that was when I decided that I was no longer going to suffer in the pharmaceutical world anymore. I was either going to kill myself or I was going to get healthy. That's when my doctor got me on the cannabis program. And 3 years later, I'm off pharmaceutical drugs. I have chronic regional pain syndrome, which makes my body feel like I'm dipped in a deep fryer some days. That's real talk. And cannabis makes it go away. It makes me feel good. Makes me drive an hour and a half up here to come talk to you people in that building up there because I'm sick of you hurting all of us. We're done. Americans are patriots and you are not.
Congratulations.
Right on, brother.
That is a huge accomplishment. I am 2 years out off all my narcotics, my opiates. Woo, 2 years left. Can you believe it?
Wow, I remember when you were doing it. You were going
This
through all
month.
that.
My name is Karen, and I was on 300 milligrams of morphine a day for my 7 back surgeries that I had. So I was in bed for 15 years and decided that was enough. So I went off everything cold turkey, and here I am. Sunburned because I got to go.
And as a
But
statement
2
to all you
months.
cannabis activists, she's here today.
I'm here today, but, I'm a little sunburned. But I'm here for the support, and, everybody should get off the opiates. They're very bad for you, extremely bad for you.
And if you're willing to, because I am, would you tell the world that how it affects your finances to choose cannabis, a healthier alternative than opiates?
That's a huge problem for me.
Is that a
because-
roadblock in New
because
Jersey?
I pay $530 a month for health insurance, and it doesn't cover my cannabis or the doctor. So I can't afford to get cannabis. I suffer probably 2 weeks, maybe a little over 2 weeks a month.
Imagine
suffer.
if she was a diabetic and she couldn't afford her insulin today.
I basically, I suffer, and the doctor wants to give me opiates, and I say absolutely not.
Oh, they're encouraging your addiction again.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Well, I was never addicted. My body was dependent.
Dependent. You're right. That's the right term.
Mm-hmm. So as a matter of fact, the doctor did give me some for a couple weeks because I have a problem with my stimulator in my back. I filled them, but I never picked them up.
You know what?
I was afraid.
You-
I was afraid. I didn't want my body.
You know better. You know
Yeah,
better.
Yeah.
Roadblocks.
You're on the air with Sativa Cross. Hello, is this David? Doug? Is this Doug? Who is this?
I got it's better if I put you on the speaker thing.
Phone off
the
the speaker.
Hold on, I got to go back and.
Phone off a speaker, phone to your ear.
Yeah, can you turn the speakerphone off? Is that possible?
It's off now.
Okay, that's better.
If I turn it on, it'll be real clear. Oh, hold on a minute. Go back here. And,
All right. David?
Yeah, there you go. Is that better?
Yeah, it's a little better. How's it going, man?
Everything is okay except for this thing in St. John's.
I was
I've
just
had to
there.
be fingerprinted. I was fingerprinted 5 times. The court has screwed up the paperwork. I've had to, in the jail, I had to go back. It's 100 miles over there. Once I had to go over there, and they said they couldn't fingerprint me then. They told me to come back in 2 hours. Well,
Wait, hold on.
that's fine if you.
Back this up. Back this up.
you know,
What happened to you? You were arrested for. You're a cannabis patient, and you were arrested for what happened? Tell your story, because we have to back this up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I was coming from California. I was there to visit my 93-year-old mom who is Alzheimer's, and she's in a memory clinic, which is 1,200 miles from here. And anyway, I go all the way up there, and I have to go to court for the trust case, and I've only got a suit with me in my backpack. And in the back of the car, of course, I've got my own personal meds in there, and it's in the back of a Volkswagen, late model Volkswagen station wagon. It's like a hatchback thing where it's got a little cover over it, so you can't really see the luggage or anything. And I'm driving. I get all the way to Holbrook, Arizona. And I turned off the freeway. I went and got a hamburger at Dairy Queen, and I left. And it was about 40 miles later. I get to I drove right through a little town called St. John's, and I did the speed limit. I was not racing or driving recklessly or anything like that. And I go through town, and I get back on the highway. It's the only way you can get back on the highway. And I noticed, a couple miles behind me, I see these lights in the distance in my rear view, and they're coming pretty fast, and I'm doing the speed limit, and I figure, well, I'm going to get off the road here because there must be an accident or something. So I got out of their way. I pulled up this little dirt road right off the highway, and they followed me in there. And they came up running up to the side of the car like they really had caught somebody, And apparently I fit this profile that they use to catch drug dealers on I-40. I had no idea that this thing is, people transporting from Colorado and California and different places back east on I-40. Of course, it makes sense. It's the main highway that goes that way. But, my mind's not thinking of this stuff. I'm thinking of my mom. And, anyway, the Officer Bishop starts questioning me. And I was really tired. I've been driving 12 hours, almost, I think close to 14. And, he had me confused. I'm an old man, a recovering cancer patient, so I'm not near as witty as I was when I was younger. And he's asking me all these questions, and I'm trying to not lie to the officer, but, I told him, he asked me if I had anything in the car. He said I was racing through downtown St. John, driving recklessly. He got a call from an officer, and that's why it took 3 of them to pull me over. I was just doing the speed limit. I wasn't. My buddy who lent me that car just got a discount for safe driving in this thing, and I've been driving the heck out of it. So I would have been the driver. It had no tickets, no
accidents, nothing. And anyway, I tried to tell the officer that yes, I do have medical marijuana. I have my card, and so I'm all legal, so it's okay. And he said, open up the trunk. And I opened up the trunk, and in there I've got a BB gun that I had taken to this one. I was going to try to go by the gun shop where I bought it, because there's a spring in there that's broken, so it was inoperable. And where I live, there's a lot of rodents and things so the BB gun works real good for that. And anyway, he took the BB gun, he went through the backpack, he got my medicine out. I had probably 1/8 of an ounce of pot. I had a little piece of bamboo that I use to smoke my roaches in. I had a broken vapor pipe that I was hoping to get a part for it in California where I bought it, but actually I didn't have a chance to. I ran out of time. It was a long drive, and I can't afford to be away from the ranch very long.
Oh, ranch where at?
Wow.
Ranch where at?
Yeah, so...
Ranch where at?
Yeah, so...
Ranch
I'm
where
sorry, Honeyb.
Ranch. You said ranch. Where at?
Arizona?
I said, what? Arizona, yeah. I'm in Arizona.
That's awesome.
Okay. But I live in New Mexico.
Oh, cool.
Which you have to go through. Yeah, you're from Gallup, I understand. That's cool.
New Jersey.
So I just moved here about 8 months ago, and my friend got his ranch back. He got it back through a divorce. It took him 3 years, and I'm here helping him fix it up. And it sat empty for 3 years, and we had a lot of rodents. And we live out we're back right up to the Gila Forest. And anyway, so it's a real wild place, and a lot of wildlife, and so anyway, what happened was he wants my driver's license. I give him my driver's license. I thought I was going to get a ticket for speeding, and I was going to fight it because I wasn't speeding at all. And anyway, he wants to see my 420 card. I pull it out, and as I'm pulling it out, I noticed that it's expired, and I hand it to him. I said, "Oh, damn, it's expired."
How long was it expired? What was the expiration? How long? A week? A month?
I don't know. No, a couple months.
Couple months? Okay.
So, well, I had to move because of this probate thing. My sister was the executor of the trust, and I had cancer, so I was supposed to be able to stay in this house where I was, because it's part of the family's property, and it was sitting empty for as long as I wanted, because everyone thought I was going to die, see? So I was just going to stay up there. They gave me 6 months to live in 2009. I was just going to stay up there with my dogs and just enjoy myself for 6 months until I passed on. And because I had been at Fresno State University for 2 years working on developing my patent, and I was involved with their water energy technology think tank.
Nice.
And, but then I got diagnosed with this cancer, so I backed out of that. I had 2 partners. I was doing research and development. We needed $1 million to develop the prototype, and so I just basically gave it to these 2 partners I had. Both of them were scientists. One of them is with Sandia Laboratories, and the other one works exclusively for the Navy. He did the microprocessor and stuff on the smart bomb. And so I needed a microprocessor for my device, and I needed a specialist that knew all these sensors. And the other scientist was from Sandia Laboratories. So he specializes in all these sensors and lasers and light beams and motions and UV and all these different types of sensing.
Awesome.
So this is a multitasking device, and it was going to be worth $187 million a year according to our market analysis. And it was a real good. It was going to keep boats from purging oil into the harbors, and it was going to be a great thing for the wildlife. And anyway, it didn't work out. What happened was the doctors wanted to, they cut what they said was the melanoma that was growing in my leg. They did an incision and did the whole area around it, which was about, 4 inches in diameter. They took all the flesh out, and they said they got it all. And then they recommended I go on chemo for a year, and I was going to have chemo for a year and interferon, and it was going to cost me $60,000, $14,000 for the first year. For the first month, and then $60,000 for the rest of the year. And I didn't have insurance at the time because Blue Cross Blue Shield would drop me for a pre-existing condition, which they never disclosed.
Come on.
So I happened to have the cash at the time, and I told the doctors I'd just pay them cash. Well, they were more interested, of course, in being paid by an insurance company, and this compassionate doctor, all of a sudden it was just, he started treating me less than a citizen because I didn't have insurance. And anyway, I've got Thomas Dean, he's an attorney, 420 attorney on the line. I'll have to call him back when we're done real quick. But anyway, what happened was, I did I like to do research. I'm a piping designer, like I texted.
Well, Doug, you're being charged with a felony. You're being charged with a felony for an eighth of weed, right? They're charging you as a criminal for your medicine. That you used to be a patient, now you're a felon. Is that correct?
Absolutely, because my card had expired. This deputy bishop, he's actually a special officer on the task force. He charged me with 6 felonies, $216,000 bail. I did 6 days in jail. I got out of jail. I have no money yet as to date because we're just settling this trust matter. So I get a public defender. And at first, they offer me an open 6 felony if I pled guilty to it. They were going to, it was going to be 3 years probation. It was going to be a felony for 18 months on my record. Then it would be dropped down to a misdemeanor. And when it went down to a misdemeanor, I would only do 18 months probation. So the whole thing after 18 months would be dismissed, which sounded really good. Well, we've had a couple of continuances for one thing or another, and the last court date was May 8th, and I was in there, and I just received a letter day before yesterday from my public defender that says that he can't guarantee that I won't go to prison, that the DA has changed his deal, that his offer on the table now is a straight Class 6 felony permanently on my record, no jail time, right? And formal probation for 3 years. I can't have a felony on my record because I'm a piping designer. I work for these big oil companies. I won't pass security clearance, and they just won't hire me. I've worked in the oil business for 25 years, designing refineries for some of the largest oil companies in the world, and I've worked for some of the largest engineering companies in the world. Basically, I usually work as a consultant because I've had plenty of experience, and I was trained by Braun Engineering, which they build like the Rolls-Royce of refineries. They build it top notch, So it was the best place to learn, and anyway, they haven't been hiring any piping designers for quite some time because we've been so dependent on foreign oil. Well, just recently, they've opened the gate, and now they're searching for dinosaurs like me to get back in the business. And I love that. I love it. I even love the smell of the rotten eggs. That smell of the hydrogen sulfide when you go by a oil refinery. I miss that so much. I can't even tell you.
Really?
I had fun doing that job. I'd go out and measure up pipe and draw isometric drawings and take it over to the welder and the pipe fitter, and I'd oversee the construction of the pipe and being in place, and I'd design the structures to support it. And there's a lot to know about process.
Well, there is.
Expansion materials and all that. I mean, it's a and I probably have forgotten more than I ever learned, but I have the opportunity to go back to work now. Chevron is actually looking for me. When I completed the last project for them, I was the lead designer actually at the Gaviota Gas and Oil plant. That plant had been sitting in mothballs for years, and it has 3 offshore platforms and a gas and oil plant, and at the expense of $3.2 billion, and the county of Santa Barbara wouldn't allow them to start it up and run it. So after a big lawsuit, they finally were able to start the plant up. So they hired me to go up there in the beginning to do plant modifications and everything because it's in mothballs. They have to keep it running, and functional, but it's not processing anything. So when I went up there, they got to go ahead to start the plant up. And I was the only designer up there that knew the plant. And anyway, we got the plant started up, and I got a letter of accommodation from the president of Chevron USA, and it was really special. I knew all 3 shifts of operators. We were like family. I've got jackets monogrammed with my name on them. I mean, it was wonderful. But one of the best jobs I've ever had. And now I'm being denied the opportunity to get back in my industry. I just over this stupid expired license. Let me put it this way. If you had an expired driver's license, what would they do to you? You'd have to go get a current license and go back in front of a judge. He might fine you, but at least, there wouldn't be any jail time or anything like that. If you had an expired fishing license, it would be the same. Any kind of license other than a 420 license, apparently. If you got a 420 license and it expires, by God, be careful what you're doing because this came out of nowhere for me. I was blindsided. I had moved around. Like I said, my sister was in charge of that house. She evicted me from that house. She went on a rant. I think she's got some hormone stuff going on. I don't know. But she just, I put a lot of money into that house, and, I was not going to live underneath her domain. So I just, after a couple of months of preparation, I moved out. And as I did, I was, I didn't have the money to, because she messed with the trust and stole money out of it, and then she cut me off from my trust. Okay, here I am thinking that I'm dying. And all of a sudden, I've developed an oil that saves my life because I've done the research. I grew the strains, the high CBD strains. Okay, I made my own. I made my own hash. I made my own oil, and I didn't sell it. I cured myself. Okay.
Yes.
And
Amen.
And I was able to. I was supposed to be dead. March of 2000. Let's see. I would have been dead. September 2009, according to the doctors. Okay. And here we are in May 2017, and I feel better than I did when I was 32, 33.
Why are they doing this to you? Why are they victimizing you? Why are they doing this to you? Why?
Why did they what?
Why are they doing this to you? Why are they making you suffer? You have enough to go through in life. Why are they victimizing you?
Exactly. This is making it worse, Lefty. The stress is bringing back the cancer. I have pre-cancers now.
It's terrible. I know. Stress is a killer.
Not being denied my medicine because of all the red tape of getting a New Mexico license here. First, you have to have a New Mexican driver's license, and because of there's some stupid law that they dropped now because it was unjust in July, I have to wait until July to get my New Mexico driver's license. So what I did was, since this thing had happened in St. John, I went back to California and got a new license. But here's the deal. These licenses, the doctors, I've had doctor statements for the last 9 years, and the doctors have always contacted me before they expire. Well, this particular doctor had decided not to do the 420 thing anymore. It closed up, and they never contacted me. My new doctor, where I got my latest doctor statement, they call 2 weeks before it expires, and to warn you and remind you that it's getting ready to expire. Well, I never got that. I never got a letter. I'd moved 4 times in 9 months, and my mail was being forwarded, and by the time it got to me here in New Mexico, some of it was lost because I never got notice of an expired license. I am finally getting mails forwarded to me from California. I just got something from the DMV on my Harley. And see, that's another thing. Since I got well, I could hardly walk. I couldn't even take out my trash cans when I was diagnosed. Since I have gotten well, I started playing golf again. I bought a Harley Davidson, for Pete's sake, at 67.
Wow.
Let's get it.
Nice.
I'm riding a freaking 2013 Dyna Super Glide Custom with Baby H, man. Everything is badass. But anyway, the cops are treating me like I'm some kind of dope dealer. And this bishop kept telling me everything that he asked me, and I told him the truth, was a lie. And I was frustrated as hell. So when we get to jail, I got enough of this guy. I thought I was going to get out right away. I ended up doing 6 days, okay, in a county jail there. And Apache County has got the lousiest food. Oh, my God.
So wait, Apache County is where your case is. Apache County Court?
That's right. Apache County and St. John.
What's your prosecutor's name? What's your prosecutor's name?
Yeah, they've got... shoot, where is the... it was in front of Judge Gunnell, and Judge Gunnell kind of had a little compassion for me. My arraignment, he told me, he said, well, Mr. Winther, I'm not going to put you in jail. And that was comforting. But now they've moved my case up to the Superior Court. I have another judge, and this guy is the DA. There's 2 DAs that are working in there. I mean, it's like an assembly line. I mean, they're getting a lot of people on I-40. It's all going through this court thing, and I think someone told me when I was in jail that the county's under investigation. There's a special...
I'm sure. They sound corrupt. They sound very uncompassionate.
And Phoenix that's been assigned to them, and to look into their whatever they're doing. And,
Doug,
and,
what's your prosecutor's name, Doug? Doug, what's your prosecutor? You don't have it? Okay.
I'm trying to look at the clock, and I got it here, but I'm buried in paperwork, and I've just put it all in order. But you wouldn't believe, I'm looking at 2 inches of paper here.
All right, I'm going to call them now. I'm going to call them up and try to get some answers why they're doing this to sick people with cancer. But yeah, we have to stop the show. So, but Doug, we're not done. We're going to talk to you more about this, and we're going to fix this problem. We're going to do something for you. I don't know what.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate your help. I really do. I'm really, I don't know what the hell to expect. It's not a good thing for cancer patients.
No, you need less stress, not more stress in your life.
Here it is. Michael B. Whiting.
Mike Whiting.
Michael B. Whiting.
Yeah. And then there's another one, Garrett Whiting. He's the deputy county attorney.
Okay.
Isn't that too cozy? And anyway, their phone number is 928-337-7560.
Wait, say that again. Repeat that number, please.
928-337-7560. And, I know I'm guilty of not having an active license. I mean, the thing had expired. And I tried to tell that Officer Bishop, listen, when I was in Arizona, I had an application for my license, but I had to move because my friend had no fire insurance on the ranch where I was, and he was afraid that there might be an incident and stuff. So I ended up coming here to New Mexico, to my friend's ranch. He's just gotten back from his divorce, and it's working out. You know, Lefty, I'm really blessed, man. I got my dogs back. I thought I was going to lose them, and you know that. Thank God I got them because you know they really saved my life when I had cancer. I had to get up and feed them and walk them and stuff, and that really.
Well, I'm sorry you're going through this, man. We're gonna do something for you. I'm not sure what, but we're gonna put pressure on these guys, and we're gonna do something for you. But Doug, thank you so much for calling, man. We'll be in touch, and we're gonna do something for you, man. Thanks, brother.
All right, brother.
All right, you take care. All right, bye-bye.
Denise, bye, Honeybee.
Peace. Ken, I just want to make a quick call because they're in the office right now. It'll be quick, and then we're gonna end the show. This makes me crazy how they victimize patients and they think they're just going to get away with it and they're not going to be called out on their crap. No, we're going to call them out. When you're messing with cancer patients, I'm sorry, we're going to call you out.
Absolutely.
Sorry. It ain't happening.
It's got to be done.
Mike.
We're sorry. You have reached a number that has been disconnected or is no longer in service.
Well, they knew you were coming.
Hurtful. 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 All right. One more time.
Do 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 do.
Oh, it's 337.
My
fault. Human error. A rare lefty error.
Apache County Attorney's Office.
Yes, hi. You're on the air. I'd like to speak to Michael Whiting, please.
He's not available at the moment. May I take a message?
Yeah, we would like to ask him some questions about Doug Winther's case. Doug Winther is a cancer patient, who's being victimized currently by your government for his medicine. He's a medical cannabis patient. His card expired, and they're charging him with felonies now. So we'd like to get the story and a statement from Michael Whiting on why he would do that to a cancer patient.
Does he have a voicemail?
No, he does. I'd have to pass along the message. May I ask who's calling?
This is LeftyGrimes from Sativa Cross. I'll give you my number. He can call us back. My number is 9... Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, from where are you calling from?
Sativa Cross. I'm an award-winning journalist from New Jersey, and we got the story here. This story is national. What you're doing to this cancer patient, it's a national story, and we would like to get a statement from you, from New Jersey.
Okay, like I said, I'd have to pass along the message.
Okay, can we have a voicemail?
Contact number.
You have, sure, sure. 908-616-0682.
Okay, so that was 908-616-0682.
Yes.
Okay, and you said it was Nativa course?
Sativa Cross. SATIVA-CROSS. Sativa Cross.
Sativa, sorry.
Yes.
Cut off.
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, sir, I will pass this along.
Okay, thank you very much, and we appreciate
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, so,
Bye.
yeah, we don't let cancer patients suffer, and we're not going to let other people make cancer patients suffer, and we're going to call you out on your crap when you make people suffer unnecessarily. Makes me crazy when I see this to people, when I see this. All right, so I want to thank cmmmnj.org. That's Ken and Jim. SativaCross.com.
Thanks, y'all, for having us on the show today. Keep fighting a good fight.
Tuffy's Fight. Lost my page. Figures. Medical-freedom.com. Get your State of Compassion flags from medical-freedom.com. What? Go ahead. You want to say something, please? I'm in the weeds here.
I just have an advertisement here. I'd like to say, if you're looking for a tie-dye this summer, make sure you support Jesse's Tie-Dyes.
Does she have a website? She has a Facebook page, so Jesse's Tie-Dyes on Facebook. Check him out. I got one, and I love it. Magicalbutter.com. Oh, wow, I forgot the I forgot our song. Oh, my God. We didn't do our song. We didn't do nothing. I'm sorry, guys. Got a little tied up today. Magical Butter makes your recipes better. MagicalButter.com. 1-800-424-3334. 1-800-424-3334. Get your Magical Butter machine from MagicalButter.com. This machine saves lives. It made some brownies that are sitting right here on the table. And they're pretty good. Crazy, man. Run New Jersey, Blue Planet Biotech, DavidVersusAutism.org, NewJerseyWeedman.com, CannaSense, New Jersey Grannies for Grass. Oh, by the way, yeah, somebody Mike Malone commented on the NewJersey.com page today about Ed Fortune. Real quick, listen to this. Prosecutors are trying another line of attack. Debbie Medeo, Fortune's main squeeze, is being investigated by the New Jersey State Police and the Attorney General's office for violation of the Nurses Practice Act. Ken, you've ever heard of that? The Nurse Practice Act? Wow.
Let them investigate. There's nothing wrong with promoting medical marijuana. The New Jersey State Nurses Association has endorsed medical marijuana since 2003. They were one of the very early endorsers of medical marijuana. Medical marijuana also is recognized as medicine here in the state of New Jersey. So, I have no concern whatsoever about nurses speaking out about the benefits of marijuana.
Oh, it gets better, Ken. Listen to this. Also, Mercer County Prosecutor's Office is getting ready to arrest her as part of the last drug bust, saying that since she is a co-owner and Fortune's live-in, she must have known marijuana was being stored and distributed in their restaurant and temple. Doesn't Medeo realize that Fortune is only using her for her nursing salary and savings because she is running out of money, or he's running out of money? Think about it. Is all this controversy with Fortune worth her career, children, home? Don't you think the prosecutor's office and the DEA will start turning the screws on Medeo to get to Fortune? Love is blind. Apparently, so is Medeo. Oh, my God.
What is this man's name that wrote this?
Wow.
Who's the author?
This is from, I'll tell you the name, Mike Malone, M.D. He's a doctor.
Hey, Dr. Mike Malone, how about I start looking into your background, buddy? What do we think we'll find? Can you pass a drug test? Ignorant scumbag.
Piece of crap.
How much the pharmaceutical company pay you to say that?
What a jerk.
Scumbag.
What a jerk.
Mike Malone's a scumbag. I
Wow.
hope your family hears this. You scumbag.
Tell us how you really feel, Tony. No, don't. I'm kidding. No,
And
I'm
you know what I'd
I'm
also...
kidding.
and who is letting Mercer County fund this? Where's the funding coming for this? There's no rapes in Mercer County? There's no murders in Mercer County?
No,
we got to look after a nurse who's trying to promote medical cannabis. Not a single rape in Mercer County today. Not one.
Is that a good thing? Maybe they're all stoned. Toughies fight, New Jersey Grannies for Grass, legalized for Lorelei, JacksonStorms.com, prayers for Sarah, prayers for Pete, Jenny's Purple Ribbon Journey, and Jenna's Journey. And then the reason why we do this show is this list, because Cheryl Miller's on the top of this list, and we do this show for people like Cheryl who started this whole thing. She fought for you. She fought on her deathbed for you, so that you can get your cannabis. Jim said something last week. He said that she wore, on her deathbed, she wore a Cannabis is Medicine shirt. And he said that the morgue, the guy who was working in the morgue would be educated from that. So she was even educating people. The minute after she died, she was...
Yeah, I heard that. I listened to your podcast last week. A brilliant podcast, by the way.
Man,
Stanley.
that was deep.
But, yeah, I only met Cheryl Miller once, and I'll never forget her.
No, she was a heck of a warrior, man. She fought till the end and after. Till the end and then some. I hope we can all do that. For real, man. That's man. I'm getting the chills thinking about this, and now I'm getting the feels, and it's sad. It's sad that all these people suffered without their cannabis.
She's a warrior.
Yeah, I mean, we have people here like Ariel suffering. She had cancer. You still probably have it, right? Yeah, she has adrenal cancer. She suffers. She can't get a cannabis card. She can't have. Well, first of all, you need millions of dollars, so you don't have that, do you? Nobody has that. No. You're in school. So how are you going to afford a cannabis card and your cancer? You can't fight cancer and go to school. Pick one.
Roadblocks.
Pick one.
Just more cones on the bridge. That's all it is.
Disgusting.
Roadblocks on the bridge.
Makes me sick. So thank you, Cheryl Miller. I'm sorry Jim couldn't be here today. He was preoccupied in, he's up in Maine or somewhere. And I know his mom's really sick too. He's got a lot going on, so.
Yeah, Ontario.
Yeah.
Northern Ontario is where Jim Miller is. And we hope he has a speedy trip back and a safe trip back.
Yeah. Love you, Jim. Jim's the best. Sabina Rose was a 15-month-old baby. She died waiting for her cannabis. She waited a quarter of her life for cannabis, as a matter of fact. Can you imagine waiting a quarter of your life for something? And then can you imagine having a 25-hour seizure on top of that? 25 hours worth of seizures. What the hell? Really? Diane Ripatella, Gracie, Cindy May, Marie, Jack from Colorado, Joan Ford, Joan Ford's book is coming out. Joan Ford has a book coming out called The Falling Sickness. It's about epilepsy in the 40s and 50s and how the nuns used to throw holy water on the people having seizures. Holy water. But now that's the holy water you want. That's the holy anointing oil.
Hello.
Hello, Honeybee.
We love you.
Hi.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, love you. Why do you always call her at the very end? Why does this always happen?
Yeah, we got you at the end again. Sorry.
Love you.
I was supposed to. I got you during the list, too. I'm in the middle of the list, so yeah, let's break the list up, please. I'm getting sad. We just talked about Cheryl and Sabina, and I'm just like, I don't even want to do this list. It's just breaking my heart already.
I don't ever want to be on it.
I know. Your son's on this list, and I'm sorry.
That's a horrible plan to wake up.
Yeah. We just talked to a patient who's being victimized with cancer. His card ran out, and they're charging him with like 8 years worth of prison because his card ran out. For an eighth of weed. For an eighth.
What?
Come on, really? The hell out of here. It's bad.
Oh, I guess Warren can call in.
We're ending the show now. I'm sorry. I missed Warren's call.
It's okay.
Yeah, we had a very busy show. I'll see you at the joint, guys. So we're going to go through the list real quick because we're going to shut the show down. But Randy Robertson's on our list. Chad. Jeremy. We're talking about home grow. Jeremy is a victim because he needed home grow. He was growing some beautiful cannabis, and his whole life was ruined. His family's life was ruined because he went to jail, and he died. He died because he couldn't get a job, and he had to drive around looking for different jobs, and it was just a bad situation for him. He lost everything, and now his family lost everything because of this drug war, because it was illegal for him to grow a plant. Something that grows out of the ground, he was put in jail for. His life was ruined over. We can do better than this as Americans, just as patriots, but even just as an American. It should shock the hell out of you that people are going through this. Maybe this will create more patriots when you hear these kind of things.
God knows we need them.
Yeah, we do need help. If you're hearing this, believe me, we need help. You think we're sitting here and we got everything under control? No, we need help. We need more people. There's power in numbers, and we've proven that over and over again. So join us and help us, and you'll see how power in numbers works. Pressure and power in numbers.
It is a drug war, and we need soldiers.
Yep.
Because we don't have money. All we have is people. They have the guns, but we have the numbers.
And the cameras. And Final Cut Pro. And I'll make a video in one day that will change your whole outlook and your whole life. You think I won't? You watch it. Watch a couple of my videos. You'll be like, whoa, that's happening really in New Jersey? We just made a wheelchair video. We shouldn't have to make wheelchair videos in Bayonne of all these steps that they have. They don't allow handicapped people to get into these businesses. Why do we have to make these videos? Why can't these fix these problems? Where's the compassion? Where's the love, man? Come on. Someday you may be in a wheelchair and you may need some compassion. And you'll be happy people like Cheryl Miller fought for you. Because she did fight for you. She didn't know you, but she fought for you. Colette is Jeff's mom. She died from MS. Matt, Troy died from pancreatic cancer. Russ Perry, Jay Orletto died from... He killed himself because it was easier for him to get heroin than it was to get cannabis in New Jersey. He was priced out of the program. He was asking me, how do I get into the program? 2 weeks before he died, he said, Ed, Lefty, how do I get into this program? I gave him the information. I should have smoked them up, but I didn't. I should have went over there and smoked them up, but I didn't. Don't make that mistake. If someone needs help, go there. Just go there. Just drive. Take the ride. Give them 10%. Because now I have a regret in life, and I don't like having regrets, and now I have it because my friend's dead. And I could have helped him. The government could have helped him. Christie could have helped him, but nobody friggin' helped him. He died on heroin without cannabis. I got off pills using cannabis.
Me too.
10 friggin' years I was on pills. These doctors have me on roxicodone, all this crap, and I don't take any pills anymore. I use cannabis. No more pills for me. No more roxicodone. No more OxyContin. These doctors are just trying to kill people with all these drugs that they got them on. Then they give you drugs for the side effects. Oh, we got drugs for your side effects. Don't worry.
And then you treat you like a criminal for it.
Roger Barber was a great father, great man. He kept all of his stress inside. Stress is a killer, and it killed Roger. He would come here with his daughter who had epilepsy. He fought for his daughter to get cannabis in her school. Bye, Ken. Thank you. Thank you for not letting our show go off the rails into the shock jock thing. Thank you so much, Ken. I appreciate it. I do. Because thank you, Ken Wolski. It's the best. All right, well, Honeyb, we're on the last name.
Funny.
Yeah, no, I love Ken. We didn't do shock jock stuff today. We really didn't. It was good. It was very informational, very educational, and it was good. And a little edgy. Of course, our show is the best show out there. I don't care what you say. I don't care if we only have 100 listeners. No, you don't get information like this anywhere. And we're the guys that go around and get stuff done. We go to the boardwalk, and we got in the news for smoking cannabis on the boardwalk. We go to police stations. We smoke cannabis on police stations. We podcast from your state house. We're in your face.
We show up.
We got candidates running for office that are going to be smoking cannabis on the campaign trail. What more do you want? What more do you want? Just tell us, and we'll do it. We will do whatever you want us to do. Honeybee, you're from Oregon.
I am.
You don't have these problems in Oregon. You don't have patients begging for their friggin' lives in conference rooms, do you?
No, I don't.
No, we have patients like a dog and pony show going in front of committees. Can you please give me cannabis for my disease? I have cancer. Can you please give me cannabis for my disease? I have this. I'm dying too. Can I have cannabis? I'm suffering too. Well, they pick and choose who suffers in New Jersey. They say, oh, you can have it. You don't get it. You can have it. You don't get it. You suffer. You can have cannabis. You can have cannabis. Here, I'm picking people out of the crowd right now. You can have cannabis, sir. Sir, ma'am, you can have cannabis. You suffer. Back there, no, you suffer. No, you can't have cannabis. No, your condition doesn't qualify you. Nope, sorry. Nope, sorry. Suffer. You can have some, though. Okay, about half of those people qualified. It's sad. It's a sad state of affairs here in New Jersey. Hopefully when the new governor gets in, he will take care of the patients. Not just the social users. We don't want the social users left out, but we don't want the patients left out either. The patients should come first. The patients need to grow their own cannabis. The patients need no tax on their medicine. And you know what? The veterans need medicine for free. The veterans signed up for health care. They're supposed to get all the medicine for free. Why are the veterans not getting cannabis for free? It's not a stretch, guys. They're getting all these other drugs. The veterans should get their cannabis for free. That's not a shocking statement. They are serving your country. They're putting their lives on the line for you. Give them what they need. Honeybee, I'm sorry your son's on this list.
It's a horrible thing. I wish it on nobody.
Whenever you're ready to end the show, we're ready.
Okay.
And this is for your son, Michael Dillon, who had a drop seizure, who died from a drop seizure. He was fine one day, and then one day he fell down, and he never woke up. He was in the hospital for days, and this should not be happening. We need more compassion, more help for these people, for people that are suffering.
Yes. Give that 10% to someone in need.
Please, 10%. It's a tithing. If you're a Christian, you understand that. Give a tithing to someone that needs it. 10%. It's not much to ask for. If you got a pound of weed, give them, 10%. Give them a handful.
You ready?
Go ahead, Honeybee.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We
will remember them.